Chapter 65. Looking at the bloody hole in his left hand, Xiao Chen took a deep breath. It seemed like his left hand was temporarily crippled. Taking out a blood-replenishing pill, Xiao Chen crushed it and turned it into a medicinal liquid. Then, he smeared it on his wound. Immediately, he felt a cooling sensation, and the pain from his wound lessened significantly. After tearing a piece of cloth from his clothes and tying it up, Xiao Chen walked forward in search of the tree branch that had shot at him. After walking 10 meters, he saw that after the tree branch pierced through his arm, it pierced through a few trees before finally nailing itself to a large tree. Xiao Chen used his strength to pull it out and observed it carefully. He discovered that this withered tree branch was only as thick as a thumb and was not more than a meter long. However, it gave off a faint glow. Feeling astonished, Xiao Chen enveloped the tree branch with his spiritual sense. Finally, he noticed something different. This tree branch contained even more spirituality than Mo Fan's weapons. Thinking about a spell in the Compendium of Cultivation, it required such a natural item with spirituality. Xiao Chen happily placed it in his universe ring. After he determined the direction in which Xiao Yulan and the others left, he executed the lightning evasion twice in a row before he finally caught sight of them. "Cousin Xiao Chen, what's wrong with your left hand?" Before he got close, he saw Xiao Yulan running over from the crowd and asking with concern. Xiao Chen smiled and said, "It's nothing, it's just a small injury. It will be fine in a day. Let's go, I'll bring you to the Xiao clan campsite." This time, no one dared to refute Xiao Chen's words. Along the way, no one revealed any dissatisfaction. After the earlier incident, Xiao Chen had completely won over the prestige of this group of people. For the rest of the journey, Xiao Chen kept his spiritual sense extended. When he met any demonic beasts, he would avoid them. There were no battles along the way. After 2 hours, the group finally arrived at the Xiao clan campsite. This campsite was a simple one that the Xiao clan seniors had set up for experiential training. There were only 3 simple wooden huts in the camp. Although they were simple, they had all kinds of daily necessities. It couldn't be any better as a place for everyone to live and rest for the next few days. His divine sense didn't detect any danger in the camp, so Xiao Chen said, "Everyone, clean up the camp first. I haven't been here for so long, the dust must have accumulated." The crowd dispersed. These cultivators were the elites of the younger generation of the Xiao clan. At this moment they were not careless in their actions. Xiao Chen was much more satisfied. "Ah, there's a dead person here." A scream interrupted Xiao Chen's thoughts. Xiao Chen quickly ran over. The deceased was an old man wearing the uniform of the Tang clan. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. Why did a cultivator of the Tang clan come here? The condition of the old man's death was very horrifying. His chest was split open and his heart and lungs were gone. It seemed like he was eaten by a demon beast. No wonder the people who saw the corpse were so panicked. Xiao Jian, who was inspecting the corpse, said, "This person is a martial grand master. Furthermore, he has not been dead for long." Everyone was astonished. Why did a martial grand master of the Tang clan come to the Xiao clan's camp? Furthermore, he was killed. A martial grand master was actually killed in the periphery of the camp. This was too unbelievable. "Quick, look. There's a corpse here as well." There was another cry of alarm. This corpse was discovered in a wooden hut. Xiao Chen moved like lightning and rushed over. The condition of the corpse was exactly the same as the previous one. When Xiao Chen saw his uniform, he was astonished. This was someone from the Zhang clan. Furthermore, he was a martial grand master. All the clues in Xiao Chen's mind were linked together. A scene appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. Before the trial of Gloomy Forest started, 2 martial grand masters sneaked into the Xiao clan's camp. With the cultivation of a martial grand master, they could easily kill everyone here. However, for some unknown reason, these 2 martial grand masters were killed by demonic beasts. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen trembled in fear. In order to kill him, the Tang clan and the Zhang clan even dared to go against the rules set by the city lord. What else would they not dare to do? However, I want to see how many martial grand masters you send to die, Xiao Chen thought to himself. Everyone worked together to find a place to bury the two corpses. The main reason was that they were afraid the corpses would attract even more powerful demonic beasts. When they saw the two martial grand masters who died a miserable death, a shadow was cast in everyone's heart. Following that, under Xiao Chen's instructions, everyone started to set up some alarm traps around the camp. Everyone had the experience of training in Seven Horn Mountain, so they were very familiar with setting up such trap. It was not difficult at all. Yilan, come with me to check out the surroundings. We will officially start hunting demonic beasts tomorrow, Xiao Chen said to Yilan, who was leaning against a tree after resting for a while. Yilan did not feel like moving. He muttered, "Why me?" Xiao Chen smiled, "Let's go." Along the way, didn't you keep saying that you wanted to kill demonic beasts? Now that I'm giving you a chance to perform, are you still not satisfied? When everyone heard this, they all laughed. They felt that this brat was asking for trouble. He could only blame himself for being too full of himself on the way. Xiao Chen, let me accompany you. Your left hand is injured. If you meet any demonic beasts along the way, they might not be easy to deal with, Xiao Yulan said as she came out of the wooden hut. Xiao Chen shook his head, there's no need. This camp is a little strange. You are the strongest here, so you should stay here and look after me. My hand is fine. Furthermore, we are just going to check it out. There should not be any danger. Hearing Xiao Chen say this, Xiao Yulan did not insist. She only reminded him to be careful. Although Yilan was unwilling, he still followed behind Xiao Chen, heading to the south of the camp. In the dark forest, the shadows of the trees danced and the cold wind blew. Unseen dangers were always hidden in the darkness. As Yilan followed behind Xiao Chen, he kept feeling that there were pairs of eyes staring at him from the darkness, causing him to tremble in fear. Yilan looked at Xiao Chen's face. He was expressionless, making it impossible for others to guess what he was thinking. In the dark night, Yilan appeared exceptionally calm. Puxi. A red phantom appeared in the darkness, heading for the two of them. A tyrannical aura spread through the forest, scaring Yilan into a daze. It's the fire lizard. This is its tongue. Yilan, who had already developed a shadow of this demonic beast, started to tremble as he spoke. Under Yilan's astonished gaze, Xiao Chen grabbed the red tongue with his right hand. An electric light flashed in the dark night, following the red tongue and entering the fire lizard's body. The long tongue was covered in flickering electric light. In the dark night, it looked like a ribbon of electricity made of thunderbolts. It was very breathtaking. Ah! There was a cry of pain. The fire lizard withdrew its long tongue and let out a cry of pain. It was extremely horrifying in the quiet forest. What are you standing there for? After it. Xiao Chen rushed forward. Before he left, he looked at Yilan and urged him. Yilan nodded his head fiercely and chased after Xiao Chen. The fire lizard's 20-meter-long body was covered in red particles. A black chi spread out from the fire lizard's body. Its 10-meter-long tail continuously slapped the ground. A pair of scarlet eyes stared at Xiao Chen and Yilan, who were rushing over. The scene before him triggered the shadow in Yilan's heart again. His legs trembled as he said, "Xiao Chen, can you deal with it? My legs seem to have gone soft." Xiao Chen smiled coldly. "Is this all you've got? Then why did you come here to kill demonic beast? Where did all the courage you used to fight to become a core disciple of the Xiao clan go? I have already infused electricity into its body. It will not be able to move for a while. If you are a man, then go and stab it with your sword." Because of what happened earlier, Yilan had already cast a huge shadow over demonic beast. Hence, Xiao Chen brought him out this time to get rid of this shadow. Otherwise, if Yilan continued to be like this in the official trials, not only would he die, he would also be a burden to the other members. At this moment, Xiao Chen only needed to stab him to get rid of this shadow. But what? You don't even have the guts to do that? If not, I will send you out of Gloomy Forest tomorrow. You can continue being an outer disciple, never to raise your head again. Is it really not able to move? Yilan, are you still a man? Even women are not as wishy-washy as you, hesitating at the moment of life and death. Do you really want to die that much? Xiao Chen's merciless words were like sharp knives carving into Yilan's heart, slowly igniting the anger in his heart. Damn it, isn't it just a fire lizard? I have killed countless of them on Seven Horn Mountain. Yilan shouted and cursed. He flew forward and stabbed his sword into the fire lizard's body. The force behind this stab was very strong. Furthermore, he was a superior grade martial disciple. When the sword stabbed in, purple blood spurted out and splattered on his face. The fire lizard cried out in pain again and struggled free of the purple light in its body. It released a baleful aura and swung its huge tail at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was startled and wanted to make a move to help. However, he saw a killing intent flash in Yilan's eyes, which were also filled with a baleful aura. Yilan turned around and ruthlessly chopped at the black python's tail. Dang! The huge force sent Yilan flying into the air. However, he did not panic. He somersaulted in the air and landed firmly on the ground. He held his sword and stood upright, looking at the fire lizard with a mocking expression. The long robes on Yilan's body fluttered. At this moment, even the eternal darkness of gloomy deep forest could not cover the boundless fighting spirit coming from Yilan. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and revealed a satisfied expression. This Yilan was not weak after all. As long as he overcame the shadow in his heart, it would not be a problem for him to deal with the fire lizard. However, it was hard to say whether he could kill it or not. However, Xiao Chen was not too worried. As long as they familiarized themselves with it and experienced life and death situations, everyone would improve. This was the true meaning of the trial. To experience the true essence of the martial way, this was the fate of all the cultivators in the Tianwu continent. It was also their goal. Man can conquer the heavens. My fate is my own and not the heavens. Towards the great Tao, even if the road ahead is filled with thorns, I have no fear. With a sword at my side, I will carry the will of a cultivator and never stop. Such a life would not be ordinary and useless. Life would not be mediocre because of loneliness, just like those people who chased after their ideals in his previous life. Although their paths were different, the great Tao was the same. If you had a firm belief in your heart, you would definitely have a bright and dazzling future. Chapter 66. Martial Technique, Broken Moon. The fire lizard's tail swept towards Yilan again. Yilan soared into the air and executed the yellow-ranked martial technique, Broken Moon. With a schwa sound, the fire lizard's tail was chopped off. Pu ci. The fire lizard roared in pain. Its long, red tongue was like a phantom as it flew towards Yilan. Yilan could not dodge in time and was caught by the tongue once again. However, this time, he did not panic. Just as the tongue was about to drag him into the fire lizard's mouth, Yilan chopped off the fire lizard's tongue with his sword. After he landed on the ground, he quickly rolled far away. Purple thunder, true fire, shoot. At this moment, Xiao Chen also made his move. A purple flame revolved around his fingertip. It gave off a piercing sound as it shot towards the fire lizard. Boom! There was a huge explosion in the fire lizard's mouth. Although the fire lizard was badly mangled, it did not die from the explosion. The black qi on its body wriggled continuously and the wound on its head quickly healed. However, the purple flame that Xiao Chen had left in its body did not give it the chance to heal completely. With a thought, the essence in his body was greatly depleted. A huge purple flame soared up from the fire lizard's body. The flame and the black qi intertwined. The fire lizard rolled on the ground in pain. Suddenly, the black qi surged and forced out all of Xiao Chen's purple flame. The wound on its body healed once again. However, Shao Chen was not surprised. He had already killed a fire lizard before and had a certain understanding of it. That black chi was the demonic chi from the demonic world. It was very strange and evil. At this moment, although the fire lizard had already forced out all of its purple flames, the flesh on its body was not as tough as before. It could be easily pierced through. Flight on wings, one-line chop. A simple saber strike landed ruthlessly on the back of the fire lizard. Under the huge force, the fire lizard was chopped in half. A large amount of black chi and purple blood flowed out. However, the flesh and blood on the torso that had been chopped off actually began to reconnect. It was as if there were thin threads that made zzz sounds. This demonic beast's life force was too strong. The two of them did not hesitate and continued to attack. From the start, the internal organs of this demonic beast were injured by Shao Chen's lightning. Then, Yilan cut off its tail and tongue. Finally, it was burned by the purple thunder true fire. At this point, it was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Under the relentless attacks of the two of them, the Yao beast was finally killed after 10 minutes. It could not be any more dead. The ground was littered with the remains of the fire lizards. The pieces of flesh gave off a black demonic chi, looking very strange. Shao Chen could not be bothered with these. After he dug out the demonic core from the demonic beast's head, he burned it until there was nothing left. Shao Chen, thank you. Yilan looked at Shao Chen and said sincerely. He was not stupid. He had already guessed the reason why Shao Chen brought him out. Shao Chen smiled faintly and said, "It's nothing. Since we are together, we are comrades. Furthermore, I promised the first elder that I would bring you back alive. I will credit you for this Yao core. Let's go, we will continue to check. We still have to walk another 500 meters in this direction." Yilan was very happy in his heart. For a disciple with a different surname like him, as long as he made enough contributions in the Shao clan, he would be bestowed the surname of the Shao clan. At that time, he would become a true core disciple of the Shao clan. The results of this trial of refinement were undoubtedly an important opportunity for them to gain merit. Furthermore, Shao Chen was now their invigilator, in charge of their results for this trial of refinement. After the two of them walked another 500 meters, they discovered that in this direction, aside from the fire lizard, there was also a demonic beast that looked like a leopard and a scarlet-tailed snake. Of the two types of demonic beasts, the two of them killed one each. Then, they noted down their weaknesses and some things that they needed to pay attention to. After that, the two of them checked out the other three directions. They had to either test out or kill each type of demonic beast, of which, the two of them marked the north and east as dangerous areas that they could not enter. This was because there were rank 3 demonic beasts hidden there. There were even rank 4 demonic beasts. They were far from being able to deal with them. If they went, they would only be sending themselves to their deaths. After doing all this, the two of them returned to the campsite. According to the time outside, it was already evening. At this moment, the temperature in gloomy forest had become even colder. "You are back," a Shao clan cultivator, who was standing guard at the side, said excitedly when he saw that the two of them had returned safely. A bonfire was lit in the middle of the campsite, and the remaining people gathered around it to keep warm. Although cultivators could use essence to ward off the cold, the amount of essence that they would expend in the long run would definitely cause them to feel heartache. Before Shao Chen got close, he could already hear the sounds of an argument coming from the bonfire. He could not help but quicken his pace. "Cousin Shao Chen, you are finally back. Are you all right?" Shao Yulan stood up and asked with concern. "What's the situation outside? Tell us about it." "That's right. Are there many demonic beasts?" Everyone started talking at the same time. Shao Chen smiled faintly. "Don't panic. Later, Yilan will explain it to you in detail." "I heard you guys arguing earlier. What were you talking about?" A female cultivator said. "They said that they want everyone to sleep in the same wooden hut tonight." We do not agree. Xiao Chen looked in the direction she pointed and understood which group she was referring to. There were a total of 10 people in this trial. Including him, there were 6 men and 4 women. Naturally, the ones who agreed were the men, or rather, the boys. The ones who objected were the girls. Xiao Yulan explained, of the 3 wooden huts, one is a storeroom. The other 2 are the bedrooms and the other is a place for cooking. Second young master, there is only one wooden hut. If we don't sleep together, how are we supposed to sleep together? Furthermore, the beds are separated. What is there to be afraid of? The most important thing is that we are all very pure, a male cultivator said with a smile. That's right, we are all pure. This group of women is too dirty. What do they think we are? I am already 18 years old, but I am still a virgin. I have not even done XX before. That's right, you are all virgins. That is why it is even more dangerous. You have been thirsty for more than 10 years. Who knows if you will be able to endure it, a rather valiant girl said. Xiao Qin recognized her. She was called Xiao Ling the precious daughter of the second elder. She was one of the top beauties in the Xiao clan. However, she was usually weird and always caused trouble. We have already endured it for 18 years. How can we endure it for a few more days? Xiao Ling you are looking down on us too much. You are slandering our purity. Stop. Xiao Chen felt that the topic was getting more and more out of hand. He quickly called for a stop and turned to Xiao Jian. Xiao Jian, what do you think? Ever since Xiao Jian returned after losing to Zhang he seemed to have changed into a different person. He no longer had his usual high profile and rarely spoke. Hearing Xiao Chen ask him, Xiao Jian was stunned for a while before saying, I feel that it is better for us to stay together. First young master is indeed wise, someone immediately said from behind. Xiao Jian smiled faintly and said, there is only one wooden hut with a bed and space. If you want to stay separately, we will have to empty out the storehouse. That way, we will have no place to store the demonic cores and demonic beast corpses we found. The most important thing is, did you forget the 2 martial Grand Master corpses we encountered when we first arrived? This place is very dangerous, extremely dangerous. It is best to stay together and take care of each other, Xiao Jian said with a serious expression. Xiao Jian's words made sense. This place was indeed a little strange. He turned his gaze to Xiao Yulan and said, Cousin Yulan, what do you think? The fiery red bonfire shone on Xiao Yulan's jade-like face, making it look extremely hot. Xiao Qin took a few glances and felt as though he was about to sink into it. He quickly withdrew his thoughts. Feeling Xiao Qin's gaze, Xiao Yulan smiled tactfully, making her look even more beautiful. The few Xiao clan disciples were all stunned when they saw this. I also agree with Xiao Jian's opinion. However, we need to use a curtain to separate the bedrooms. After all, it is not good for a girl to be in the same room as a boy. After this compromise was agreed upon, Xiao Chen got Yi Lan to explain the surrounding situation to everyone. He explained the distribution and weaknesses of the various demonic beasts in detail. Finally, Xiao Chen said, Tomorrow, I have decided to split into 2 groups. One group will go to the south and the other group will go to the west. I will be in charge of the south. I will leave the west to Xiao Jian. Yi Lan will go with you as well. No one had any objections to this arrangement. After chatting for a while, Xiao Chen made arrangements for the night watch, and everyone went their separate ways. After the crowd dispersed, only Xiao Yulan and Xiao Chen remained by the bonfire. At this moment, gloomy forest was incomparably cold. Occasionally, strange roars could be heard coming from the distance. After the crowd dispersed, the bustling scene disappeared. The cold wind blew gently, and the terrifying roars of demonic beasts could be heard. All of this would cause a normal person to be terrified. Xiao Chen looked at the sky. The lush leaves covered the sky completely. He could only see the faint starlight through the small gaps in the leaves. Such a scene caused Xiao Chun to recall the camping activities of his university in his previous life. The scene seemed to be similar. There were both males and females, a group of youths full of vigor. However, it was impossible for demonic beasts to exist there. If one was not careful, their lives would be in danger, and they would end up being eaten by demonic beasts. Everyone knew the dangers of experiential training. However, since ancient times, cultivators had all thrown themselves into it without hesitation, searching for the end of this path. However, are there really martial gods in this world? Xiao Chen's gaze pierced through the boundless dark night, looking at the sky as he thought to himself in a daze. Cousin Xiao Chen, what are you thinking about? Xiao Yulan, who was at the side, asked softly. The flickering light of the fire made Xiao Yulan's beautiful face look extremely alluring. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. The people of the world are tireless, tempering themselves between life and death, searching for the great way of martial arts. However, at the end of this path, is there really a martial god? When Xiao Yulan heard this, she shook her head and sighed. That's right. Everyone knows that the end of martial arts is the martial god. However, our great Qin nation has hundreds of thousands of kilometers of territory and thousands of capable people. On the surface, there are only 10 martial monarchs. The most recent martial sage was something that happened 500 years ago. In my opinion, aside from the 3 Orthodox Holy Lands, the most likely place to have a martial god is the Great Jin Dynasty, Xiao Yulan added. In the Sky Martial Continent, other than the countless small kingdoms and chaotic lands, the Qin Kingdom, Chu Kingdom, Tang Kingdom, Xia Kingdom, and Jin Kingdom were the 5 strongest empires. Among them, the Great Jin Kingdom had the largest spiritual vein in the world, and its power was comparable to the other 2 empires combined. What Xiao Yulan said was not wrong. That place was the place with the most spiritual energy. The number of experts there was also the highest in the continent. Just at this moment, a mournful scream came from the east of the camp. This scream was extremely miserable, as though it was suffering from the most horrifying punishment in the world. Xiao Chen pressed down on Xiao Yulan, who was about to get up, and said, "Don't go, I'll go take a look first. If there is any danger, immediately send out the signal that the first elder left behind." Xiao Yulan wanted to say something, but Xiao Chen said with a serious expression, "You know about the situation in Seven Horn Mountain. No matter how dangerous the situation is, I have no problems protecting myself." Chapter 67. Xiao Chen headed to the east of the camp. The further he went, the more intense the mournful cries became. When he was about 400 meters away from the source of the sound, Xiao Chen stopped. He condensed his spiritual sense into a thread and slowly extended it forward. When it was 200 meters away, Xiao Chen felt like his spiritual sense was blocked by something. Pu Si. Xiao Chen concentrated and turned his spiritual sense into a sharp sword, slowly breaking through the barrier. After a long time, his spiritual sense finally arrived at the source of the sound with much difficulty. In the forest in front, a martial Grand Master wearing the uniform of the Tang clan was lying on the ground. There was a huge black bird in front of him, pecking at his internal organs. Xiao Chen frowned slightly and looked up. There was a black figure floating in the air. He was darker than the night, as deep as a black hole. Although it was very strange, Xiao Chen could feel a sense of weakness from his body. This person should have been severely injured. After hiding for 3 days, I have finally found you. Xiao Chen heard that person laughing. The laughter sounded like it came from hell in the dark night. It was very gloomy. Suddenly, a strand of black qi entered Xiao Chen's body from the body of the cultivator on the ground. An expression of extreme enjoyment appeared on his face. It was as though the strange bird pecking at his internal organs was a delicacy to him. Xiao Chen could even feel that the injuries on his body improved significantly as he breathed in the black qi. To think that he could actually rely on sucking the internal organs of others to recover from his injuries. This was simply unbelievable. When the black chi dissipated, the Tang clan cultivator on the ground was completely silent. That huge black bird flew to the feet of the black-clothed person in an instant. Xiao Chen was greatly astonished. He was sure that this huge bird was a demonic beast. This black-clothed person was actually able to control a demonic beast. This was simply unheard of. I thought it was a dead end, but I didn't expect to encounter such nourishment. This king is really surprised. The black-clothed man stood on the giant bird and laughed. Suddenly, his expression became serious. His eyes emitted a profound light as he stood against Xiao Chen's strand of divine sense. It was as if he could see through Xiao Chen's invisible divine sense. Xiao Chen quickly spread out his spiritual sense and turned it into a small sword. He circled around a large tree and secretly observed that person. After that person saw it clearly, he seemed to recall something terrifying, and his face revealed an expression of extreme fear. Riding on the giant black bird, he left in a sorry state as if he was fleeing. Its speed was as fast as black lightning, and it left countless black afterimages in the forest. In an instant, it left the observation range of Xiao Chen's divine sense. Xiao Chen did not dare to advance rashly. Only after that person had left for a long time did Xiao Chen slowly arrive in front of the Tang clan cultivator. His state of death was exactly the same as the two people he found in the campsite earlier. It seemed like he had died under the pecking of the giant black bird. This person was able to easily kill 3 martial grand masters despite being heavily injured. What kind of horrifying realm was this? Xiao Chen felt terrified just thinking about it. No matter what, this strange black-clothed man had indirectly helped Xiao Chen to get rid of a problem. Otherwise, if 3 martial grand masters appeared to kill them at the same time, they would not have been able to defend against them. Recollecting his thoughts, Xiao Chen ignored the corpses on the ground and quickly returned to the campsite. Facing Xiao Yulan's interrogation, Xiao Chen temporarily hid this matter. He felt that this matter was too strange. There was actually someone who could control demonic beasts. Before Xiao Chen figured out what was going on, he decided not to tell anyone about it. In the middle of the night, the two of them called for someone to change shift. After resting for 4 hours, the sky was already bright. Of course, it was the color of the sky outside. Within gloomy forest, it was still dark. Visibility was not much better than at night, but it was not as cold. Xiao Chen moved his left hand around. Under the effects of the blood-replenishing pill, he felt that there were no major problems. His essence could flow smoothly, but he was temporarily unable to perform any high-intensity movements. The other people in the wooden hut were still asleep. There was no sunlight shining in to wake them up, so they were all sleeping soundly. Xiao Chen woke everyone up. After washing up, they started to prepare to split up. When they were splitting up, Xiao Ling expressed that she wanted to be in Xiao Chen's group. There were even a few others who expressed the same opinion. This gave Xiao Chen a headache. In the end, he decided to split Xiao Yulan and Xiao Jian into the same group. This way, the average strength of both groups would be about the same. In the end, Xiao Ling still ended up in Xiao Chen's group. Xiao Chen led the other 4 and headed south of the camp. He decided to start with the fire salamanders. This was because he had killed quite a few of them before, so he already had some experience. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense and quickly found a fire salamander on a big tree. Stop for a while. Xiao Chen called out to everyone to stop. Elder brother Xiao Chen, why are we stopping? Is there a demonic beast? Where is it? Xiao Ling asked in a strange manner. Her eyes looked around, searching everywhere. Xiao Chen smiled. Stop looking, it's above your head. When Xiao Ling heard this, she was startled and took a few steps back. Xiao Chen raised his head and looked at the intertwining tree branches above his head. The complicated tree branches made the sky look very mysterious, making it impossible to see through them. This was gloomy forest. Aside from the dangers coming from all directions, one had to pay attention to the top of one's head at all times. The smile on Xiao Chen's face disappeared as he said, "All of you, step back a little." After he spoke, he disappeared from his original spot. There was an electric light in the darkness. They could vaguely see Xiao Chen holding the lunar shadow saber as he leaped around the trees. When the electric light disappeared, the forest returned to darkness once again. The four people below could not even see a hazy silhouette. All they could see were the dancing tree branches drifting in the air. Boom! There was a loud sound coming from the sky. A huge creature descended from the sky, causing the ground to tremble. The four people on the ground quickly retreated. Xiao Chen stood on a tree branch and did not descend immediately. He smiled at everyone and said, "It's time to see your performance. Don't be careless, you might die." Before the four people below could reply, the fire salamander had already stabilized itself. When it saw the four of them, it immediately shifted its aggro and swept its tail at them. The four of them quickly scattered, and a red phantom headed for Xiao. It was like a red ribbon in the air. Its speed was extremely fast. What surprised Xiao Chen was that Xiao, who usually looked weird, actually reacted very quickly. She pushed her feet off the ground and nimbly dodged the attack. In the instant she turned around, Xiao even made a cut on her red tongue. However, this fire salamander was clearly stronger than the ones Xiao Chen had met before. Its tongue was very tough. Xiao spirit weapon was unable to break it. The four of them fled in all directions as they were chased by the fire salamander. They cursed Xiao Chen in their hearts. He was too despicable. Many of them regretted being on the same team as Xiao Chen. None of them thought that Xiao Chen would ignore them after luring the fire salamander down. This caused those who wanted to ride on his coattails to feel regret. Time slowly went by. Something that made the four of them vomit blood happened. Xiao Chen took out a bottle of wine from his universe ring and started drinking from it. "Xiao Chen, you are too despicable. You saw us being chased around so miserably, yet you did not make a move to help." Finally, someone below could not help but curse. "That's right. Elder brother Xiao Chen, you are too ruthless. Originally, liked you a little. Now I hate you," Xiao said fiercely as she pouted. Xiao Chen did not reply. He revealed a faint smile on his face. After the initial panic, the four of them slowly regained their rhythm. The fire salamander was left with wounds of varying severity. The four of them had also been struck by the fire salamander's tail a few times. Two of them even had blood trickling out from the corner of their mouth. However, Xiao Chen still did not make a move. This was their experiential training. If they relied on him, it would be meaningless. The pinnacle of martial arts was comprehended between life and death. One could not rely on others. Bang! Once again, Xiao could not dodge in time. She was struck by the fire salamander's huge tail. She vomited a mouthful of blood. Xiao Chen could not bear to see her like this. However, something unexpected happened to Xiao Chen. This little girl actually did not make a sound. Her pretty face was filled with determination. She did not have her usual mischievous look. Martial technique, clear wind breaking clouds chop. Xiao actually executed a martial technique in the air. This was unbelievable. The sword in her hand was like a clear wind breaking clouds. With a flash of white light, she chopped the fire salamander's tail in half. Xiao landed firmly on the ground and wiped off the blood from the corner of her mouth. She made a funny face at Xiao Chen, who was on the tree. This caused Xiao Chen to not know whether to laugh or cry. Shua! Another person erupted. He actually chopped off the fire salamander's biggest weapon, the scarlet tongue. In an instant, the fire salamander's two main attacks were rendered useless. Everyone's morale immediately soared. Kill! 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 Everyone was in high spirit. They started to execute all their martial technique. They expended their essence without a care for their lives. In an instant, this horrifying demonic beast was forced to retreat step by step, losing all its momentum. "Seeing how badly you chased me earlier, I will definitely kill you today, one of the Shao clan cultivators, who had been struck twice by the fire salamander's tail, said ruthlessly. Just as the fire salamander was about to die, an ice arrow flashing with a cold light suddenly flew over from the distance. It struck the fire salamander with a schwa sound. A cold chi spread out from the fire salamander's body. The black chi on its body was completely expelled. In an instant, the fire salamander's entire body turned into an ice sculpture. The cold chi was overwhelming. Everyone was startled. They did not understand what had happened. Bang! Shao Qin leaped down from the tree and shot out a strand of purple flame. It clashed with the second ice arrow coming from the distance, resulting in an intense explosion. The ice dissipated into nothingness. However, the purple thunder true fire's momentum did not decrease. It continued to rush forward. Boom! After a while, there was another explosion in front. The footsteps of a group of people slowly walked towards them. Chapter 68. The Tang clan's people. That is Tang Feng. When that group of people got closer, Shao Chun and the others quickly recognized them. There were also 5 people from the Tang clan. Tang Feng held a longbow that looked like ice crystals in his hand. When he was about 100 meters away from the group, he stopped. When he saw Shao Chun, he was clearly stunned. After a long time, he smiled and said, "So, Brother Shao is here. What a coincidence. I'm sorry, but we want the demonic core of this fire lizard." Hearing what he said, the few Shao clan disciples behind Shao Qin could not take it anymore. They had worked so hard for half a day, and this fellow wanted to snatch it from them. Was this acceptable? Shao Ling frowned slightly and said mockingly, "If you have the guts, then put away your bow and arrows and come over to take a look." The remaining people also started to jeer. It was clear that they could tell that the ice crystal bow in Tang Feng's hand was not an ordinary item. Seeing how far away he was, it was clear that he was extremely cautious and meticulous. Tang Feng played with the ice crystal bow in his hand and revealed a faint smile on his face. He said, "Brother Shao, your Shao clan's people were beaten up by this fire lizard without being able to retaliate. I killed it with 1 arrow. It is not an exaggeration to say that I saved your lives. Giving me a small demonic core is not an overboard request." "Very overboard." Shao Chun could not be bothered to argue with him. He said indifferently, "If they did not severely injure this fire lizard, do you think you could kill it with 1 arrow? I do not wish to pursue the matter of you interrupting our experiential learning. Now, don't try to argue in front of me. Leave immediately." Tang Feng's expression changed. He originally thought that Shao Chen's group had already been dealt with by the elders of the Zhang clan and the Tang clan. He had only come here to meet with the elders of his clan. He did not expect Shao Chen to be alive and well. Furthermore, he was doing fine. Tang Feng thought quickly and said coldly, "Shao Chen, are you underestimating my strength? Do you dare to take 3 arrows from me? If you can, I'll leave immediately." "Receive? Why would I not dare? I can even receive 10 of your arrows. Would elder brother Shao Chen be afraid of you?" Shao Ling's melodious voice answered Tang Feng before Shao Chen could. "Big brother Shao Chen, you have to do your best. Don't let this fellow be too arrogant," Shao Ling said to Shao Chen in a cheeky manner. Shao Chen rolled his eyes at her. It was obvious that this girl wanted to take revenge on him. She had just been beaten badly by the fire lizard, and now that she had found an opportunity to take revenge, she immediately seized it. Against a long-range attacker like Tang Feng, it was necessary to close the distance quickly and end the battle quickly, not giving him the chance to pull away. What he was doing now was undoubtedly the stupidest way to wait for others to shoot at him. "Shao Chen, I won't shoot much, just 3 arrows. As long as you can receive 3 arrows from me, I'll leave immediately. Do you dare to agree?" Seeing that Shao Chen did not say anything, Tang Feng used the lowest form of provocation. The moment Tang Feng appeared, Shao Chen's spiritual sense did not leave the ice crystal bow in Tang Feng's hands. A cold chi flowed on the ice bow, and the surrounding ice-attributed spiritual energy gathered into it. This was obviously an ice-attributed spirit weapon. Furthermore, Tang Feng's martial spirit should also be an ice-attributed martial spirit. This allowed the ice bow to continuously absorb the surrounding ice-attributed spiritual energy. However, Xiao Chen was not afraid. This was because Tang Feng was only a peak superior grade martial disciple. Although he already had 1 foot in the martial master realm, he had yet to enter that realm. His own strength was limited, and he was unable to completely bring out the huge energy contained in the ice bow. Xiao Chen smiled indifferently. Why wouldn't I dare to receive 3 arrows from you? I will receive them. Do you dare to receive 1 saber strike from me? Why would I not dare? I just don't know if you have the life to receive 3 arrows from me. Tang Feng laughed coldly. From his words, it was clear that he was very confident in the ice crystal bow in his hands. Tang Feng held the ice crystal bow in his hands, and his aura suddenly changed. He pulled the bowstring, and it was like a full moon. The surrounding cold chi poured into the bow like water, and a cold light shot out in all directions. Dots of ice moved like tadpoles, as though they had a life of their own. Xiao! The bowstring trembled, and the first ice arrow was shot out. It was like an icy rainbow, carrying a boundless cold chi as it flew towards Xiao Chen's throat. It gave off a woo-woo sound, as though an ice god was pouncing forward. Its might was incomparably vast. Dang! Xiao Chen's gaze was like water, and the lunar shadow saber in his hand suddenly lit up with an electric light. A crisp, shattering sound rang out, and the ice arrow shattered into countless fragments. What? The fragments of ice in the air did not fall to the ground. Instead, they turned into a puddle of white water and condensed into another ice arrow in the air. Its speed doubled, and it arrived within a meter of Xiao Chen in an instant. Xiao Chen quickly retreated a few steps, and the energy of the demonic core in the lunar shadow saber was released. The electric light on the saber flickered non-stop, creating countless thunderbolts as he chopped down again. Dang! Dang! This time, the ice arrow turned into a puddle of water and fell to the ground. It was no longer able to maintain its might. When Xiao Ling who was at the side, saw the scene in front of her, she started to regret her actions. The ice bow in Tang Feng's hands was unbelievably strong. Tang Feng smiled coldly. I was wondering how strong you were. It turns out that you are not that strong. This is only the first arrow, there are still 2 more. Let's see how you receive them. Right after he spoke, Tang Feng drew the bowstring again. A cold chi rushed to the sky from the bow, and an ice arrow appeared. It was like the Arctic ice piercing through the air and flying out. This arrow was so fast that it did not even leave an afterimage in the air. It was impossible for the naked eye to catch it. It was as if it really tore through the air and suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen stretched out his right hand and pointed forward. The surging essence in his body flowed to his right hand like a river. There was a spark on his fingertip, and it was like a weak firefly in the dark night. Bang! When his fingertip and the ice arrow met, there was a loud explosion. Xiao Chen did not move at all. He frowned, and his fingertip and the ice arrow started to burn. Suddenly, Tang Feng's right hand moved gently on the bowstring. An invisible ripple, carrying a boundless cold chi, was infused into the ice arrow. Instantly, the pressure on Xiao Chen increased greatly, and he started to move his feet. Purple thunder, true fire, explode! Xiao Chen shouted, and an intense purple flame sprang up from the bottom of his feet. It instantly spread to the fingertip of his right hand, like the hand of a fire god. The firefly-like light instantly exploded into a ball. The boundless flame completely melted the ice arrow, turning it into a puddle of steam. Then, it rose up from Xiao Chen's fingertip. Even in the cold weather of gloomy forest, this flame actually made one feel warm. This showed how high the temperature of the flame was. Xiao Ling said excitedly, "Elder brother Xiao Chen, you are so powerful." Seeing the ice arrow turn into steam, Tang Feng's expression changed. He smiled coldly. Don't get too cocky. I still have one last arrow that I have not fired yet. Tang Feng drew the bowstring again. A bright light appeared on his right hand. The entire ice bow also gave off a resplendent light. Countless ice-attributed spiritual energy in the surroundings quickly gathered on his right hand. A cold light filled the sky behind him. It was like a frost nova, dotted with stars. In the darkness, there was an indescribable sense of magnificence. The surrounding temperature suddenly dropped significantly. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense and saw a huge bird behind Tang Feng. This bird's body was very strange. Half of it was ice and the other half was actually a blazing flame. Xiao Chen was startled. He suddenly thought of the matter of Tang Feng auctioning the 7-colored flame python inner core in Linlang. It was obvious that Tang Feng was using it to raise his fire-attributed attack. However, the 2 arrows that Tang Feng shot out, and the 3rd arrow that he was about to shoot, were clearly ice-attributed. What was going on? The most important thing was that Xiao Chen could clearly feel that Tang Feng's strength had risen to the martial master realm. What was going on? Could it be that he had been suppressing his cultivation? Go, Frost's Fury! In Xiao Chen's spiritual sense, the portion of the ice within the huge ice-fire bird dimmed significantly. The frost behind Tang Feng vanished, and a sharp arrow formed on the bowstring. That arrow grew in size as the wind blew. Not long after, it became an ice arrow that was tens of meters long. Everywhere the ice arrow passed, a cold wind blew. Traces of fog spread out from it. As time passed, the horrifying ice arrow actually grew larger. The few people behind Xiao Chen all cried out in surprise. Xiao Ling was so frightened that she closed her eyes, not daring to see what was going to happen next. This ice arrow was incomparably huge, but its speed was not slow at all. It was not inferior to the previous 2 arrows. It was only because of its continuously growing size that everyone could see it with their eyes. When the ice arrow pressed down, a boundless cold chi spread out. Xiao Chen felt that his legs seemed to have stiffened. This way, his speed would decrease significantly. It would be very difficult for him to dodge this arrow. You know how to borrow the might of a spirit weapon, do you think I don't? Xiao Chen smiled coldly in his heart. Xiao Chen swung the lunar shadow saber with all his might. The power of the rank 6 lightning-attributed demonic core was released at full force. A boundless electric light lit up in the dark night. It was resplendent and dazzling. The lightning-attributed spiritual energy in the surroundings poured into the lunar shadow saber unceasingly. The electric light formed countless thunderbolts. In the dark night, it was like a ray of light formed by lightning. Hua! The saber clashed with the ice arrow in the air. With a schwa sound, the lunar shadow saber pierced through the ice arrow. Countless pieces of ice fell down and were shattered by the electric light. At this moment, it was no longer a battle between 2 people. Instead, it was a battle between 2 spirit weapons. From the scene in the air, it was clear that Xiao Chen's lunar shadow saber was superior. Dang! The lunar shadow saber pierced through the body. The huge ice arrow gave off a loud sound and turned into countless pieces of ice. However, the electric light on the saber was still very dazzling. Before the countless pieces of ice fell down, they were all shattered by the electric light. Kill! Xiao Chen shouted lightly. He stomped on the ground and leaped into the air. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the lunar shadow saber that was in the air firmly. A figure flashed in the air and a black saber light chopped down at Tang Feng. Tang Feng's complexion turned pale. He moved from his original position, leaving behind an afterimage as he continued to retreat. Xiao Chen did not even look at the afterimage. He spun his saber and moved his feet slightly, hacking at a spot 5 meters to the side. Tang Feng reappeared and watched as the black saber tip gently brushed past his throat. He narrowly dodged this saber strike. However, the wind from the saber still managed to cut through the flesh on his throat, leaving behind a faint wound. Tang Feng's throat unconsciously twitched. He felt a slight pain from the wound. His already pale face became even more horrifying. He felt as though he had just returned from the gates of hell. Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and looked at him coldly. Scram. Don't ever appear here again. Don't be unconvinced. I know you have trump cards you have not used yet, but so do I. Furthermore, don't hold any expectations in your heart. The 2 elders of your Tang clan are already dead. The same goes for the Zhang clan's elder. When Xiao Chen finished his last sentence, Tang Feng's complexion completely changed. How is this possible? Those were 4 martial grandmasters. Could it be that he killed them? Chapter 69. Still not scramming? Xiao Chen said coldly as he looked at Tang Feng, who was deep in thought. Tang Feng's left hand, which was holding the ice crystal bow, trembled violently. A flame actually appeared on the surface of the snow-white ice crystal bow and started to spread. Go! Tang Feng glared at Xiao Chen, and the flame on the ice crystal bow instantly disappeared. His emotions had also completely calmed down. Xiao Chen, I will repay you for the humiliation I suffered today during the promise of 10 years. At that time, not only will your Xiao clan lose 7 Horn Mountain, it will also be completely wiped out. This is the trend of the times, no one can change it. You still dare to be stubborn? Xiao Chen flew forward and kicked Tang Feng to the ground. He pointed the lunar shadow saber at his throat. Do you believe that I will kill you now? Try and touch me if you dare, Tang Feng said stubbornly. I have changed my mind. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. It is obvious that you have not used your trump card yet. Regardless of the reason, this is the best opportunity to kill you. Why should I give you a chance to take revenge during the promise of 10 years? What are you trying to do? Quickly let go of the second young master. Are you not afraid of inciting a fight between the Xiao and Tang clans? The 4 people behind Tang Feng said anxiously. What if I kill all of you? At this moment, Tang Feng was truly afraid. His voice weakened as he said, Young Master Xiao, I was just joking earlier. You didn't take it seriously, right? Xiao Chen withdrew his saber and said indifferently, Scram. Honestly speaking, Xiao Chen really wanted to kill all 5 of them. Especially Tang Feng. He gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. However, thinking about it, these 5 people would definitely have a distress signal similar to the Xiao clans. If he was delayed and the Tang clan elders rushed over, he would be in big trouble. Before he left, Tang Feng felt extremely dissatisfied. The 3 arrows earlier had exhausted a large amount of his essence. Furthermore, he had just obtained the ice fire bow and had not fully grasped it yet. Otherwise, given his character, he would not have left just like that. Elder brother Xiaoqin, you are so cool. After that group of people left, Xiao Ling immediately ran over to flatter him. Xiao Chun looked at Xiao Ling somewhat helplessly and said, I will settle this with you later. Go and retrieve the demonic core first. Xiao Ling stuck out her tongue cheekily before running to the front and saying, I'll take this demonic core. Don't fight with me over it. Bang! As Xiao Ling's sword descended, the frozen fire lizard turned into countless ice shards. Xiao Ling found the fire lizard's head and hacked down with her sword. A black demonic core immediately appeared. Xiao Ling immediately picked it up in pleasant surprise. She looked around and ran over to Xiaoqin. She said joyfully, I am incredible, right? I managed to extract the demonic core in an instant. Chun taking it, Chun took it, Xiaoqin took it and said, Xiao Tian, Xiao Ling muttered unhappily, Elder brother Xiaoqin, you are too unfair. You nearly caused the death of your team leader, and you still dare to talk back, Xiaoqin said. Let's go, we will continue. Don't lose to Xiao Jian and the rest. Under Xiao Chen's lead, the group continued to hunt demonic beasts. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense to the maximum. When he met a group of demonic beasts, he would quickly avoid them. However, Xiao Chen still did not make a move. The true strength of a rank 2 demonic beast was only equivalent to an inferior grade martial master. He did not have any desire to make a move. Although Xiao Chen did not say it, everyone already understood. The reason why Xiao Chen did not make a move was to temper their strength. Thus, there was nothing to complain about. When it was nearing dusk, Xiao Chen stopped today's activities. In just one day, the group had obtained 18 demonic cores. Furthermore, there were no major injuries or death. Hence, they were all very relaxed. When they rushed back to the camp, they discovered that Xiao Yulan and the rest had already returned. White smoke rose from the kitchen, and a fragrant aroma wafted over. 13 demonic cores, no major injuries or deaths. Xiao Yulan handed the demonic cores to Xiao Chen and explained the situation during the day. On the way, we met the Zhang clan's people. They were led by Zhang Ziyang. However, when they saw us, they were clearly stunned for a moment before quickly retreating. Xiao Chen smiled. We also met the Tang clan's people. When they saw us, they were stunned for a moment as well. Xiao Yulan's expression turned cold as she said, "In that case, the 2 corpses that appeared here were not a coincidence." "That's right, cousin Xiao Chen, what did you see when you went out yesterday?" Xiao Chen did not want to answer this question. Coincidentally, at this moment, there was the sound of dinner being served. He quickly changed the topic, and Xiao Yulan could only helplessly give up on pursuing this matter. After dinner, they lit up a bonfire in the camp once again. A group of people gathered together and excitedly talked about what happened during the day. What surprised Xiao Chen was that Xiao Jian was currently cultivating by himself, not mingling with the others. When night fell, Gloomy Forest became even colder. Gloomy Forest at night was several times more dangerous than it was during the day. Xiao Chen did not want everyone to take any risk. After he arranged for people to keep watch, he instructed everyone to go rest. After everyone fell asleep, Xiao Chen secretly got up and prepared to go out. The trial during the day was only against rank 2 demonic beasts. To him, it was not a challenge at all. Thus, he did not make a move. The trial had only just begun. Not long after he went out, his spiritual sense suddenly detected someone following him out. When he looked carefully, he discovered that it was Xiao Jian. Xiao Chen looked at the direction Xiao Jian was heading in. It was to the south of the camp, so he did not worry too much. With Xiao Jian's strength, there was nothing wrong with him training alone in Gloomy Forest. Furthermore, Xiao Chen could not find a way to stop him. Xiao Chen collected his thoughts and started to head to the east of the camp. Before long, a patterned demonic leopard appeared in the range of his spiritual sense. This patterned demonic leopard was a standard rank 3 demonic beast. Its strength had reached the peak of martial master. It was the target that Xiao Chen wanted to train with. Xiao Chen pushed off the ground and leaped up gently. He was already standing on top of a tree branch. His eyes were like water as he stared at the patterned demonic leopard on the ground. This patterned demonic leopard was more than 2 meters tall. Its entire body was black, and it looked similar to the leopards on Earth. However, its eyes were blood red. This was the most distinctive feature of a demonic beast. Even though they were tens of meters apart, Xiao Chen could feel the overwhelming killing intent coming from this patterned demonic leopard, causing him to tremble in fear. Shua! Xiao Chen accidentally broke a tree branch. The ears of the patterned demonic leopard twitched, and it immediately heard the faint sound. Its blood-red eyes looked in the direction of Xiao Chen. The darkness of the night was unable to obstruct its vision. It discovered Xiao Chen in an instant. It roared and a horrifying sound wave immediately attacked Xiao Chen. Bo! A huge amount of energy followed the ripples and attacked Xiao Chen. Everywhere the ripples passed, the huge trees in Gloomy Forest trembled. Countless leaves fell to the ground. Xiao Chen was secretly shocked. This sound wave attack had a wide range and was very powerful. It seemed to have no weaknesses. However, it was still almost, not definitely, Xiao Chen executed the lightning evasion and his body appeared behind the patterned demonic leopard. He avoided the sound wave directly. In front of Xiao Chen, who had the lightning evasion, it did not pose much of a threat. The patterned demonic leopard immediately sensed Xiao Chen's position. It turned around and pounced at Xiao Chen. A black chi gathered on its right claw and it ruthlessly smashed it at Xiao Chen. Flight on wings, one-line chop. Xiao Chen did not dare to be careless. He used a martial technique to meet the attack. This was because he could feel the terrifying energy contained in the black chi. If he was careless, he would be at a disadvantage. Pu Chi. The force from the patterned demonic leopard's right claw caused him to retreat a few steps. However, the patterned demonic leopard did not feel any discomfort after being struck by his one-line chop. The patterned demonic leopard took advantage of the moment. Xiao Chen retreated and chased after him. It was more than 2 meters tall, and its red eyes looked down at Xiao Chen. A supreme pressure pressed down on Xiao Chen. Purple thunder, true fire, shoot. Xiao Chen casually shot out a purple flame. The flame left a trail of flames as it quickly struck the patterned demonic leopard. A pool of purple blood flowed out. The patterned demonic leopard cried out in pain. The black chi quickly surged over and dispersed the purple flames. It opened its mouth and roared loudly. A horrifying sound wave engulfed Xiao Chen once again. Heavenly Lightning Shield. At the critical moment, Xiao Chen immediately used the Heavenly Lightning Shield. However, the Heavenly Lightning Shield was not very effective against this strange sound wave attack. The sound wave still managed to penetrate it. Blood leaked out from the corner of Xiao Chen's mouth. His ears actually went deaf for a short period of time. Xiao Chen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and removed the Heavenly Lightning Shield. A dense killing intent flickered in his eyes. This beast was too infuriating. Even Tang Feng did not put him in such a sorry state. Flight on wings, disordered dance of 1,000 years. Xiao Chen had tried this move a few times before. However, the success rate was only 50%. This was because he did not have a deep understanding of the Battle Sage Origins changing character formula. However, at this moment, he could not care so much. He sank his consciousness into his dantian and Xiao Chen did his best to recall the scene of the battle with Zhang He. Zhang He's every move slowly appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. It was like a movie playing out continuously. Understanding this in his heart, the changing character formula quietly circulated in his body. Xiao Chen suddenly made a move. His figure leaped into the air and countless saber lights were sent out. Xiao Chen's figure continuously changed in the air. This move was successfully executed by Xiao Chen. The saber light carried the energy of the blue dragon martial spirit. It continuously struck the patterned demonic leopard's body, causing purple blood to spurt out continuously. The patterned demonic leopard roared in pain. It wanted to grab hold of Xiao Chen in the air, but it could not catch hold of Xiao Chen's figure. Die! After the sword technique was executed, the blue dragon martial spirit in Xiao Chen's body transmitted a wave of energy. His body, which was originally falling, was lifted up in the air. The lunar shadow saber released an electric light, revealing its sinister side. The rank 6 demonic core carried a boundless might as it hacked at the patterned demonic leopard. The patterned demonic leopard was hacked in half. After Xiao Chen landed, he sighed slightly. He was somewhat disappointed. Aside from the terrifying sound wave attack of the patterned demonic leopard, it was not very strong. After Xiao Chen extracted the rank 3 demonic core from the patterned demonic leopard's head, he was about to leave and search for his next prey. However, a black shadow flew over his head. Looking up, Xiao Chen was startled. This black shadow was the black-clothed man that Xiao Chen saw controlling the demonic beast the night before. Hu Qi. Above his head, another group of white figures flew past. This was true flight, and not the use of superior movement techniques to leap from tree to tree. A martial king expert, Xiao Chen said in astonishment as he looked at the white figure. Who? Just as Xiao Chen was in a daze, the black figure stepped on the huge eagle and flew towards Xiao Chen. His intention was very obvious, to target Xiao Chen, who was on the ground. Chapter 70. That black figure rode on the huge eagle and circled above Xiao Chen's head, not leaving. Xiao Chen only felt that he was being stared at by a pair of gloomy eyes. If he moved even slightly, he would immediately die. Shua! The white figure from earlier also rushed over. Xiao Chen stared at the white figure and felt his mind tremble. It was extremely hair-raising. The white figure in the air was a girl who looked like a young girl. She held a golden 2-meter-long spear in her hand. Her exquisite face was the epitome of beauty. Her skin was like ice and her bones were like jade. Her eyebrows were like a painting, her eyes were like the stars, and her spirit was like jade. Xiao Chen had never seen such a beautiful girl before. There were no words in this world that could describe her beauty. She was like a beautiful piece of jade, formed naturally without any modifications. Lord Commander, you chased me for 10 days and 10 nights, from the Wind City at the border of the Great Qin Empire all the way to this small Mo city. Are you really not willing to let me off? The black figure's gloomy voice contained some unwillingness. Just because I awakened a demonic beast martial spirit? Lord Commander, since you entered the border, I have experienced more than 100 battles of various sizes by your side. There are no less than 100 wounds on my body. Have you forgotten about it? The beautiful woman's eyes were filled with a hint of regret, making it hard for anyone to look at her. She opened her red lips and said in a gentle voice, Xiao He, I've never wanted to kill you. Even though you killed 3 of your companions in order to cultivate your demonic beast martial spirit, I still want to destroy your demonic beast martial spirit. Ha ha ha! The black man laughed loudly. What a good, never thought of killing me. Earth-ranked martial technique, boundless azure sea. If I was not lucky, I would have died long ago. So be it. Since you want to kill me, I will not care about our past relationship. I will let you accompany those 3 ghosts down there. A saber appeared in the black-clothed man's hand. He rode on the huge eagle and flew towards the girl. The huge eagle under his feet clawed at the air, and a black crack appeared in the air, sweeping towards the girl. After the black eagle launched its attack, the black-clothed man leaped down from the eagle's back and brandished his long saber, releasing waves of black saber chi that surged towards the young girl. Xiao Chen was startled. The strength of this black-clothed man was clearly inferior to that of the white-clothed woman. This could be easily determined from the fact that he needed to ride an eagle to fly, while the white-clothed woman could fly with her own strength. However, the black-clothed man and the giant eagle beneath his feet were indeed 2 against 1. The white-clothed woman might be at a disadvantage. However, things did not go as Xiao Chen had expected. The white-robed woman held the golden spear in her hand and shook it in the air. 9 golden dragons appeared behind her and roared continuously. Waves of supreme imperial might were emitted from the young girl's body. Under this pressure, Xiao Chen almost had to prostrate himself in worship. The aura of an ancient blue dragon suddenly emanated from Xiao Chen's body. That supreme majesty immediately disappeared, and Xiao Chen immediately felt a lot more relaxed. With the protection of the 9 dragons, the spatial crack torn by the black eagle's claws was instantly smoothed out. The spear suddenly turned and sent the black-clothed man flying. The black-clothed man turned around in the air and resolved the overwhelming dragon chi. The black eagle in front seemed to be connected to him and appeared precisely under his feet. The 9 dragons circled in the sky and the speed of the battle between the 2 increased. Their figures continuously flew up into the sky, releasing countless forces. The surrounding trees were all snapped in half and crushed into powder. Boundless dragon roars resounded and boundless black chi spread out. The golden and black chi clashed intensely in the sky. Xiao Chen complained in his heart. These 2 were peak experts. If any of the forces they released landed on Xiao Chen's body, they would be able to severely injure him. Xiao Chen had no choice but to activate the heavenly lightning shield to block the forces that descended from the sky occasionally. Although it was only the periphery of the force, it still shook his internal organs and caused his qi and blood to churn. Soon, Xiao Chen could no longer see the figures of the two clearly. In Xiao Chen's opinion, the young girl clearly had the upper hand in terms of strength. However, when they were fighting, it was clear that her strength was insufficient. It was clear that she was somewhat restrained. The true might of the 9 dragons was not fully unleashed. Yi Qinzhou, have you already fallen to such a level? To think that you want to threaten an inferior grade martial disciple to fight with me. Where are your morals? The two of them slowly descended from the sky. The melodious voice of the white-robed girl contained boundless rage. Yi Qinzhou smiled sinisterly. Morals? You are the first commander. Of course you have morals. It is already difficult for me to survive. What do I need morals for? If you want to kill me, then kill this brat first. Let me see your morals. Xiao Chen finally understood why the white-clothed girl was so hesitant. It turned out that it was because of him. However, he could not leave even if he wanted to. That black-clothed man had locked onto him with his aura. If he made any strange movements, he would be killed on the spot. How hateful! The white-robed girl said through clenched teeth. She waved her spear in the air, and the 9 dragons behind her trembled. They circled around the spear, and with a whistling sound, they swept towards Yi Qinzhou, creating many dragon images in the air. Dang! Yi Qinzhou brandished his saber to block this attack. However, the dragon images circling around the spear dived down at him. Yi Qinzhou was startled and he swung his saber 9 times. The 9 surging saber chi clashed intensely with the dragon images. Waves of energy spread out in all directions. Xiao Chen, who was below, vomited a mouthful of blood. Boundless azure sea. The white-robed girl shouted and a boundless sea appeared behind her. An azure dragon broke out from the depths of the sea. It carried a boundless aura as it charged at Yi Qinzhou. Yi Qinzhou's heart sank. He stomped on the huge eagle with his right foot and flew down quickly. Soon, he was less than a meter above Xiao Chen's head. The white-robed girl frowned. She had not expected him to be so despicable. Her spear trembled in the air, and the azure dragon brushed past Yi Qinzhou. Boom! The azure dragon flew quickly. After it landed, there was a loud sound. Everything within 100 meters was blasted apart, turning into ruins. Yi Qinzhou laughed strangely. Taking advantage of the instant the white-robed girl changed her move, he turned into a black bolt of lightning and struck her right shoulder with his palm. Pu ci. Another saber light lit up. The white-robed girl could not dodge in time and was struck by several black saber lights. Her long white robes were instantly covered in blood. Yi Qinzhou kicked out and the white-robed girl was knocked down from the sky. Yi Qinzhou laughed loudly. This is your style? Changing your move at the last moment and revealing an opening. Your style will only cause you to die at my hands. However, you are a short-lived person. I believe that you will not have any regrets even if I kill you now. Yi Qinzhou laughed loudly in the air. He seemed to have gone crazy. The black qi on his body became even denser. It was a boundless demonic qi that contained boundless energy. Go and die! Yi Qinzhou shouted loudly and descended from the sky. His saber gave off a black saber light that was dozens of meters long. The black eagle below him turned into a black shadow and entered his body. At the same time, an ancient demon master appeared behind him. He held a saber in his hand and hacked down. The white-robed girl looked at Yi Qinzhou, who was possessed by the demon master. She revealed an expression of despair. Am I going to die? Flight on wings, moon bright like fire. I must succeed, Xiao Chen prayed in his heart. The instant the white-robed girl was struck down, Xiao Chen made up his mind. The instant the white-robed girl was struck down, Xiao Chen had already decided to make a move. Even if he died, he had to make a move. What he hated the most in his life were people who bullied women. He did not want to owe a woman a favor. If the girl in front of him died because of him, it would be a heart demon that haunted him for the rest of his life. A full moon slowly rose from the horizon. Xiao Qin rejoiced in his heart. At this crucial moment, he had finally succeeded. Yi Qinzhou felt a dangerous aura. He quickly turned his head to take a look. He did not know when, but a full moon had appeared in the sky. It was as calm as still water as it quickly descended towards him. A strong aura descended along with the moonlight. When the full moon got closer, it had already turned into a huge ball of light, giving off a boundless brilliance. Yi Qinzhou revealed an astonished expression. He quickly changed the direction of his saber and turned around to chop at the full moon that was heading towards him. The 200-meter-long saber light and the demon weapon in the hands of the demon master behind him struck the full moon one after another. When the two huge forces clashed, there was a loud explosion. When the light faded, the overwhelming qi wave spread out in all directions. With a schwa sound, everywhere the qi wave passed, all the ancient trees in gloomy forest were chopped in half. Xiao Qin was sent flying by the qi wave and landed on the ground. He rolled for a few meters before he stopped. Yi Qinzhou quickly retreated 3 steps. With every step he took, he would leave a 2-foot-deep footprint on the ground. Before he could stabilize himself, a golden flame flew towards him. There seemed to be a tiny flood dragon swimming in the golden flame. The golden flame pierced through his heart with a bang. Yi Qinzhou revealed an extremely pained expression. He held his chest and said in disbelief, "He actually gave you a strand of dragon fire." The black qi on Yi Qinzhou's body dissipated continuously. The expression on his face twisted continuously. The black eagle appeared again and carried him into the distance. The two people on the ground no longer had the ability to fight. They could only watch as Yi Qinzhou fled in a sorry state. Xiao Qin swallowed a blood-replenishing pill and slowly walked towards the white-clothed girl in front of him. He discovered that she had already fainted. Her white clothes were tattered from the saber light, revealing a large patch of snow-white skin. The black qi from the wounds on her body was still eating away at her skin. This caused her to reveal an expression of pain even though she was unconscious. Her beautiful face was completely pale, without any color of blood. It was very poignant. Xiao Qin thought for a while, and took out a few blood-replenishing pills from his universe ring. After crushing them, he slowly applied them to her wounds. When the green medicinal liquid flowed into her wounds, the black qi immediately dissipated significantly. Xiao Qin felt joy in his heart. He continued applying the medicinal liquid. The white-clothed girl's skin was as white as snow, smooth and creamy. Even with Xiao Qin's astonishing willpower, he could not help but feel a ripple in his heart. After applying the medicinal liquid on all the wounds, the girl's upper body was only left with her bra. This was something that could not be helped. There were many saber wounds on the girl's body. If she did not take off her outer clothes, there was no way to apply the medicinal liquid. However, the bras of this world were much tighter than those of Xiao Qin's previous world. There was not a single trace of spring on them. There was a golden longevity lock hanging on the girl's chest. This attracted Xiao Qin's attention. When he thought of what Yi Qinzhou said about this girl having a short lifespan, he could not help but be startled. Could it be that such an absolute beauty was going to die soon? Xiao Qin shook his head and tossed this question to the back of his mind. The problem now was how to deal with this girl. He could not just leave like this. After causing such a huge commotion in gloomy forest, it would definitely attract some demonic beast. This girl was in such a state because she was worried about him. Xiao Qin could not just ignore her. However, if he wanted to bring her back, it would be too inconvenient. Suddenly, his gaze fell on his universe ring. Xiao Qin smiled faintly. He already had a good idea. Chapter 71. The universe ring was an independent space. It was slightly different from the spatial rings of this world, as it could store living things. As long as the other party was willing or unconscious, it could be stored. This was the might of a magic treasure. Looking at the rubble around him, Shao Chen lost interest in continuing his hunt. Furthermore, with such a huge commotion, there would definitely be many strong demonic beasts coming. If he continued staying here, he would only die. When Shao Chen returned, Xiao Yulan and the others were already in the camp. Clearly, the commotion had woken them up. "Cousin Shao Chen, what did you do outside? Everyone was very worried about you," Xiao Yulan said to Shao Chen angrily. Shao Chen blushed with shame in his heart. "Nothing much, I just felt that something was wrong, so I went out to take a look. But the people keeping watch said that they did not see you. You should at least inform them before you went out," Xiao Yulan said as she pointed at the two of them. Shao Chen felt a headache coming on. Suddenly, he saw Xiao Jian in the crowd and quickly said, "I already told Xiao Jian, is it Xiao Jian?" Xiao Jian was stunned for a while before he nodded. "And, he did indeed tell me." Shao Chen smiled. "I didn't lie to you, right? Go back to sleep. The people keeping watch, continue keeping watch. I already saw it earlier, there was nothing much." On the second day of the trial, Shao Chen was afraid of meeting that horrifying black-clothed man again. So, he decided to move as a group of 10. The scene of the black-clothed man eating the internal organs and then treating his injuries left a deep impression on Shao Chen. The impression left on Shao Chen was too deep. Furthermore, he was severely injured last night. Shao Chen did not dare to take the risk of separating them. In the following 2 days, the group encountered rank 3 and rank 4 demonic beasts a few times during the trial. Although Shao Chen used his spiritual sense to avoid these demonic beasts, he felt that something was wrong. Bang! Bang! On the morning of the 3rd day of the trial, Shao Chen felt a series of explosions coming from the universe ring. He felt dizzy, as though the space in the universe ring was about to shatter. It seemed like the white-clothed girl was about to wake up. He had been so busy leading people during the day and training at night that he had completely forgotten about her. Shao Chen took out all the rank 2 demonic cores from the universe ring. He was afraid that if he did not take them out, the woman inside would shatter them. After a few days of hard work, he had already accumulated close to 200 rank 2 demonic cores. "Cousin Yulan, take care of these things first. Also, keep the demonic cores first. I will be leaving for a while." Xiao Yulan looked at Shao Chen's actions in astonishment. "Cousin Shao Chen, what are you doing? We are about to depart." "There's no time to explain. I have to leave for a while," Shao Chen said quickly. There was a drop of his essence blood in the universe ring. Every time it boomed, it was like a clap of thunder in his spiritual world. The remaining people watched as Shao Chen used the lightning evasion and flew far away. They did not understand what was going on. Xiao Yulan stomped her foot on the ground as she looked at Shao Chen's dispirited back. Shao Chen walked far away. After confirming that there was no one around, he let the girl out. "Perverted thief, prepare to die." As soon as the young woman appeared, she threw the spear in her hand at Shao Chen. This move, which was filled with anger, carried a vigorous energy as it flew towards Shao Chen. Shao Chen was startled and quickly dodged. Hey, you first see if you have any losses, and then say I am not a pervert." Shao Chen saw that she was still ready to fight, hurriedly said. The girl looked at her upper body that was only left with a bra. Her pale face blushed and she said, "It's already like this and you still dare to quibble. I'll kill you." She waved her hand, and the golden spear appeared in her hand again. She raised it up, and dense killing intent burst forth from her eyes. She was ready to attack again. Shao Chen saw that it was useless to explain. He had already witnessed this woman's combat prowess, so he immediately prepared to run. Bang! The sound of someone falling came from behind him. Shao Chen turned his head and realized that the girl had not made a move on him. She had already fallen to the ground, so he hurriedly walked back. "Don't touch me," the girl said fiercely. Shao Chen said helplessly, I won't touch. I just want to tell you that I am not a perverted thief. Look at the wounds on your body, none of them left any scars. I only applied medicine for you and did not do anything else. Don't look at me so fiercely. Look at your current situation. If I really do anything to you, you will definitely not have any ability to resist. After a long time, the girl said, All right, I believe you. But why did you imprison me in that space? Xiao Chun hurriedly explained his original intentions. Only then did the girl reluctantly believe his word. Help me up first. I believe you. Xiao Chun heaved a sigh of relief. He helped her up and leaned against a tree. That's right, I still have not asked for your name. Name? My name is Ying. The girl said softly. After she finished speaking, a rumbling sound came from her stomach. Her face could not help but turn red. After Xiao Chun heard it, he could not help but smile. He took out an fasting pill from the universe ring and said, Eat this. You will not feel hungry after eating it. Receiving the fasting pill, Ying did not hesitate to swallow it. After a while, she felt that her empty stomach was not that hungry anymore. She said in astonishment, Are you an alchemist? This pill is really miraculous. Xiao Chun nodded his head and said, You are really daring. Are you not afraid that I will give you poison? Ying had already recovered some of her strength. She got up and stretched her body. Since I have chosen to believe you, I will not hesitate. Furthermore, if I wanted to kill you, as long as I have a breath left, I would be able to kill you easily. There is no need to doubt it. Xiao Chun secretly clicked his tongue. Why is it that all the women I meet are so strong? Ao Jiao was one, and now this Ying is one as well. Are they tired of living? How many days did I stay in that space? Ying suddenly asked. About 3 days. Ying's expression changed. Oh no, the people from Cheesy County have probably all been killed by Yichinzhou. You better bring the people from your trial and leave quickly. The demonic beasts are about to counterattack. Xiao Chen's heart tightened. He thought about the sudden appearance of high-ranked demonic beasts in the past few days. Could it be that the experts that Cheesy County sent to the core of Gloomy Forest were all dead? Hu Qi. In the dark sky of Gloomy Forest, 3 different colored fireworks suddenly rose up. This was the emergency signal from the Zhang, Shao, and Tang clans. What happened? Why did the 3 clans send out emergency signals at the same time? Xiao Chun thought suspiciously. I am going back, what about you? Xiao Chun said to Ying. Ying smiled faintly, You should go. I am not that badly injured. It is just that I used my life skill that day and expended a lot of energy. Now I only need to recover for an hour and I can leave. Xiao Chun thought for a while and said, Then I will help protect you for an hour. Thank you, Ying said sincerely. Ying said sincerely. She was currently at her weakest, and she indeed needed someone to protect her. Ying sat down cross-legged. 9 dragon images revolved around her body. Streams of golden dragon chi were continuously emitted from her body. Her aura was rising bit by bit. After an hour, Ying's closed eyes suddenly opened. Her earlier dejection was completely gone. She no longer had that weak feeling from before, and her entire person was filled with a domineering aura. She pointed at Xiao Chen and a small golden dragon entered Xiao Chen's body. It swam around his body and finally merged into the blue dragon martial spirit. You saved my life. This dragon chi can save your life in times of need. After she spoke, she soared into the air and flew into the distance, leaving only Xiao Chen to see her beautiful back view. Xiao Chen did not have much reluctance in his heart. From the fact that this girl could emit dragon fire, Xiao Chen had already guessed her identity. Ying, then Yingyu. It was obvious that she was a member of the great Qin royal clan. The distance between him and her was too far. Retracting his gaze, Xiao Chen rushed towards the Xiao clan's camp. The 3 clans sent out emergency signals at the same time. Something big must have happened. Why is there not a single person? When Xiao Chen rushed to the camp, he discovered that the camp had clearly been tidied up. The corpses of the demonic beasts in the warehouse had all been taken away. Could it be that they had all retreated? Chapter 72. Xiao Chen looked around and guessed that everyone had already left. He thought of Yu Ying's words and guessed that the people of the Cheesy County must have received the news that this trial would end early. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly felt a sense of danger. Xiao Chen released his spiritual sense and sensed a cultivator hiding in the shadows of a large tree about 20 meters to his left. This cultivator completely withdrew his aura and stared at Xiao Chen. He was just waiting for an opportunity to kill him. Xiao Chen controlled his spiritual sense and could not help but smile when he saw him clearly. This person was actually a martial grand master of the Zhang clan. He should have come together with the two elders of the Tang clan. However, Xiao Chen did not know how this person managed to evade Yi Qinzhou's pursuit. However, the aura on his body was somewhat weak. In order to evade Yi Qinzhou's pursuit, he must have expended a lot of essence. Furthermore, it was obvious that he had not rested well. With his current state, he did not leave this place as soon as possible. Instead, he wanted to kill me. How much does the Zhang clan hate me? Xiao Chen muttered to himself. This person's current state was at most half of his usual state. Xiao Chen did not want to escape. To him, this might be an opportunity for a trial. This was much more interesting than a demonic beast. Xiao Chen immediately made the first move. There was a flash of lightning and Xiao Chen's body suddenly appeared behind that person. The lunar shadow saber radiated with electricity, and the boundless might of the rank 6 demonic core spread out in all directions. That person turned his head and looked at Xiao Chen's smiling face. His face revealed an extremely astonished expression. He could not understand how Xiao Chen knew he was hiding here. Outside of gloomy forest, the sun hung high in the sky and shone brightly. "Father, why did you call us back? Cousin Xiao Chen has not come out yet," Xiao Yulan said to Xiao Chong in dissatisfaction. Not long after Xiao Chen left, Xiao Chong brought the 4 martial grand masters of the Xiao clan to the Xiao clan's camp. He only said one sentence: "The trial has ended early," before bringing everyone out. Xiao Chen frowned. Of the experts that the Cheesy County sent to the core region of Gloomy Forest, aside from a martial grand master who managed to escape, the others all died, including that martial saint expert. The people behind him all took a deep breath and said, "Even a martial saint expert died. Are the demonic beasts of Gloomy Forest that terrifying?" He was killed by a human, not by a demonic beast. Furthermore, the way he died was extremely horrifying. Cheesy County has already reported what happened in Gloomy Forest to the Imperial family. Now, this is not a place where we can interfere. Hence, the trial will be cancelled, Xiao Chong explained. Xiao Yulan's pretty face changed slightly as she said anxiously, "Then, isn't cousin Xiao Chen in even more danger?" "No, I have to go in and look for him." "Nonsense!" Xiao Chong shouted sternly. "Why don't you think about what happened in Seven Horn Mountain? Do you think Xiao Chen will die so easily? If he wants to run, even a martial saint would not be able to catch him. If you go, you will only add to his burden." Xiao Yulan's eyes turned red, but she did not say anything. "What is Elder Xiao doing? Are you scolding me? This is not good." The Tang clan head, Tang Tian, led a group of people over. "Where is your second young master? Why don't I see him? Could he have been eaten by the demonic beasts?" Xiao Chong looked at Tang Tian and mocked coldly. "Don't think that I do not know what you did in Gloomy Forest. Unfortunately, your plans are not as good as God's. 2 elders died for nothing." Tang Tian's expression changed before he smiled. This Tang does not understand what Elder Xiao is saying. However, although this trial ended early, the results of the 3 clans still have to be compared. I wonder how many demonic cores the Xiao clan obtained? When the city lord arrives, I will report the result. I hope that the Tang clan will not report too little. This time, the Shao clan had obtained a total of 180 rank 2 demonic cores. Shao Chong was already very satisfied with this result after only 3 days. Thus, he was not afraid of Tang Tian's mockery. Not long later, the city lord, Dugufeng, gathered the people of the 3 clans together. His expression looked very relaxed, as though the matter in Gloomy Forest did not affect him at all. Dugufeng smiled. Although this trial was affected and had no choice but to end early, the same rules apply. The competition between the 3 clans will continue. I wonder if anyone will surpass the Shao clan this time. The Shao clan has already taken first place a few times. Let's start with the Zhang clan. I wonder how many demonic cores the Zhang clan obtained this time. When the Zhang clan head heard this, his expression became extremely unsightly. This time, the most capable disciple of the Zhang clan, Zhang He, did not come because his martial spirit was injured. There was not much of a harvest at all. However, since the city lord had spoken, he had no choice but to report it. The Zhang clan obtained a total of 50 rank 2 demonic cores this time, the Zhang clan head said. Dugufeng was not surprised by this result. He smiled gently. It's fine. Zhang He did not come. It is already pretty good that you obtained such result. Next, the Tang clan will report. I have quite high expectations for the Tang clan. Tang Tian smiled faintly. City Lord is too kind. The Tang clan obtained a total of 100 rank 2 demonic cores this time. After Tang Tian spoke, he glanced at Shao Chong. The meaning in his eyes was very clear. It's time for you to report. When Shao Chong heard the Tang clan's report, he heaved a sigh of relief. When he saw the city lord's gaze, Shao Chong said, the Shao clan obtained a total of 180 rank 2 demonic cores in this trial. When Dugufeng heard this, he laughed loudly. Looks like the Shao clan's foundation is deep enough. The Shao clan won this trial again. Congratulations! Tang Tian revealed a deep smile. City Lord, don't be in a rush to congratulate us. Tang Feng, show your harvest to the City Lord. When Tang Feng heard this, he walked forward and took out 6 demonic cores, placing them in front of the City Lord. The luster of these 6 demonic cores was incomparably deep. It stood out from the rest of the rank 2 demonic cores. Someone at the side immediately exclaimed, these are rank 3 demonic cores. That's right, they really are rank 3 demonic cores. Someone at the side took one of the demonic cores and looked at it carefully. A rank 3 demonic beast was equivalent to a martial grand master. This Tang Feng was actually able to take out 6 demonic cores in one go. This was simply unbelievable. In the many years of the trial in Mo City, I have never heard of anyone obtaining a rank 3 demonic core. Looks like the Tang clan is going to obtain first place this time, suppressing the Shao clan. That's right. What's even rarer is that he is only a peak superior grade martial disciple. With this kind of strength, as long as he improves further, no one will be a match for him in the upcoming promise of 10 years. Dugufeng looked carefully at the 3 demonic cores that Tang Feng handed over. When he was done, he smiled and said, looks like the Shao clan will not be able to keep their first place. The value of these 3 rank 3 demonic cores is equivalent to 100 rank 2 demonic cores. Tang Tian looked at Shao Chong with a pleased expression. Elder Shao, I'm sorry. The first place of this trial belongs to my Tang clan. If they were able to suppress the Shao clan in this trial and defeat them in the promise of 10 years, the Shao clan's reputation would fall to rock bottom. The merchant groups and powers that had dealings with the Shao clan would quickly see the situation and cut off all ties with the Shao clan. At that time, the Shao clan would truly be in dire straits. Shao Chong's expression was somewhat unsightly. He originally thought that he would definitely win. He did not expect that he would be ruthlessly slapped in the face in the end. Tang Tian's move was too vicious. The expressions of the Shao clan disciples were also extremely unsightly. This trial represented the glory of the clan. They were all responsible for not being able to obtain first place. Even the usually mischievous Xiao Ling was biting her red lips with a depressed expression. Just at this moment, Xiao Jian, who was in the crowd, slowly walked to the front of the city lord. He took out 5 demonic cores and said indifferently, "I also obtained 5 rank 3 demonic cores. Would the city lord please appraise them?" After he spoke, he walked to the back in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. His expression was as calm as water, making it hard for others to guess what he was thinking. It's Xiao Jian. Could it be that he obtained a rank 5 demonic core as well? This was once the strongest person in Mo City. Did he really obtain a rank 3 demonic core? I heard that after he was humiliated by Zhang he had been in closed-door training. Who would have thought that he would be able to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat? I wonder if he can reverse the Shao clan's defeat. I think it will be difficult. After all, he only took out 5 rank 3 demonic cores, while Tang Feng took out 6. The people in the city lord's residence were all discussing this. No one expected that the results of this trial would be filled with so many twists and turns. Du Feng muttered to himself for a while before saying, "These 5 demonic cores are indeed rank 3 demonic cores. I thought about it. The Tang clan has 1 more rank 3 demonic core than the Shao clan, and the Shao clan has 80 more rank 2 demonic cores than the Tang clan. How about we consider it a draw?" Xiao Chong smiled gently, expressing his acceptance of this result. He originally thought that he would definitely lose. Who knew that there would be a twist in the situation? It was already pretty good to be able to obtain a draw. At this moment, the one who was the most unhappy was Tang Tian. He said with some dissatisfaction, "The value of a rank 3 demonic core is much higher than a rank 2 demonic core. I believe that it is worth at least 100 rank 2 demonic cores." Xiao Chong mocked. "Do you think that it is worth 100 just because you say it is worth 100? Do you think that you are the pavilion master of Linlang Pavilion? You think that it is only worth 50? What can you do about it?" Tang Tian said angrily, "Anyway, I will not accept this draw. When I return, I will announce that the Tang clan obtained first place in this trial." At this moment, Du Feng was also in a difficult position. He was not able to make a judgment on this result. After all, he was not an expert in the value of the demonic core. It is indeed not a draw. I think so too. However, the one who lost is your Tang clan. Who was it that said such words? The air was so loud. Everyone turned to look and saw the figure of a youth slowly walking out from the exit of Gloomy Forest. His eyes were slightly squinted as he was not used to the sudden bright light. He was carrying a round bag on his back. When the sunlight shone on his face, it made his face, which could barely be considered handsome, look incomparably brilliant. His voice was not loud, but everyone heard him clearly. "Cousin Xiaoqin, you are finally back. Brother Xiaoqin, quickly come and take revenge for Ling Er." Captain the Shao clan disciples that followed Xiaoqin all ran over in surprise. Xiaoqin greeted them one by one. The smile on his face did not diminish as he arrived in front of Tang Tian and looked at him fearlessly. "Since you do not want a draw, I will let you lose convincingly." He waved his hand and released 3 demonic cores. These are the rank 3 demonic beast, demonic patterned leopard's demonic core, a total of 3. These are the rank 3 demonic beast, demonic blood moon monkey's demonic core, a total of 3. These are the rank 3 demonic beast, swordtail dragon's demonic core, a total of 4. Every time Xiao Chen mentioned the name of a demonic beast, the surrounding crowd would let out a cry of surprise. Finally, Xiao Chen took out 8 types of demonic beasts' demonic cores, at least 3 of each type. What else do you have to say? Tang Tian, your Tang clan will never be able to surpass the Shao clan. If you want to be number 1, you have to ask me, Xiao Chen, first. Xiao Chen said coldly as he looked at the dumbfounded Tang Tian. Everyone from the Shao clan felt that they had vented their anger. When they saw Tang Tian's speechless expression, they all felt extremely comfortable. Xiao Chen said indifferently, "If you are still not convinced, this bag on my back is worth another 100 rank 2 demonic cores." After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he opened the round bag on his back and casually tossed it to the ground. A round human head rolled on the ground. The head's eyes were wide open as it died with a remaining grievance. That was an elder of the Zhang clan. How did he get killed by Xiao Chen? According to the rules, he should not have appeared in the gloomy forest. The surrounding crowd all took a deep breath. What? Tang Tian and the Zhang clan head exclaimed at the same time. Their expressions changed as they looked at Xiao Chen with fear in their eyes. Chapter 73. Xiao Chen, you actually dared to kill an elder of my Zhang clan? After the Zhang clan head recovered from his shock, he said angrily. The people of the Zhang clan behind him rushed forward, looking like they were about to start a fight. The first elder Xiao Chang rushed forward, and the cultivators of the Xiao clan rushed forward without any fear. Xiao Chen smiled coldly. If he wants to kill me, why can't I kill him? It's just that I hate people like you who ambush me from behind and bully the weak. If you don't want your son to be killed the moment he leaves, it's best that you stop playing such tricks. And your Tang clan? Xiao Chen turned his gaze to Tang Tian and said, "Stop playing such tricks with me. If you are not afraid of me ending your bloodline, I don't mind helping you out." You are too much. Xiao Chen, are you thinking of starting a clan war during the promise of 10 years? You actually dare to end my bloodline? Tang Tian was so angry that his face turned purple. The people behind him also surrounded him, eyeing him covetously. Xiao Chang, who had been silent all this while, suddenly said, "A clan war is a clan war. My Xiao clan is not afraid of you. If you dare to use any methods, my Xiao clan will naturally receive them. Although my Xiao clan is not strong, we will not work together like some people and play trick. Before the trial started, you sent 2 of your clan's elders to wait at my Xiao clan's campsite. Unfortunately, the heavens make fools of people, and they were killed." Dugu Feng's expression changed. There was such a thing. Tang Tian quickly thought about it. This matter was not honorable, and he had already violated the agreement with the city lord. He definitely could not admit to it. "Xiao Chang, don't slander us. You have to show evidence before you speak." "Evidence? We buried the corpses of the elders of your 2 clans long ago. If you want evidence, I can dig them out for you now. I want you to explain why the trial has not started yet. Why did the elders of your 2 clans come to my Xiao clan's campsite?" Xiao Chang looked at the 2 of them and smiled coldly. The hearts of Tang Tian and the Zhang family head froze. They did not expect that the 4 of them would actually die. Furthermore, their corpses were found by the Xiao family. At this moment, it was truly hard for them to explain. Dugu Feng opened his mouth to help. "Elder Xiao, since no one from the Xiao clan was harmed, how about we put this matter aside for now? The Xiao clan's harvest from this trial is quite great. I will definitely report this to the higher-ups when I return." As the city lord of Mo City, what Dugu Feng did not want to see the most was a fight between the 3 clans. This would result in a lot of casualties, and it would be hard for him to deal with it if the higher-ups pursued the matter. Xiao Chang did not want to flare up now. The situation was very clear. The Zhang clan and the Tang clan had joined forces, and there was an invisible powerful faction supporting them. The situation was clearly disadvantageous to the Xiao clan. If a clan war really broke out, the Xiao clan would definitely suffer great losses. Right now, they could only place all their focus on the promise of 10 years martial competition. When Dugu Feng saw that Xiao Chang did not say anything, he could already guess what he was thinking. He turned his gaze to the other 2 clan heads and said, "I do not wish to see such a thing happen again. You can compete, but it's best if you don't fight to the death." Tang Tian and the Zhang family head were in the wrong. The city lord was willing to give them a way out of this embarrassing situation, so they went with the flow and said some pleasantries. "The trial is over. There is no need for everyone to worry about the matters here. Go back, Dugufeng said finally. On the second day, the results of the trial spread throughout the entire Mo city. The Shao clan obtained first place once again. It was unknown how the process of the trial was spread. The news of Shao Chen taking out over 20 rank 3 demonic cores in front of the Zhang clan and Tang clan spread everywhere, becoming the topic of discussion in every big tea house. After Shao Chen defeated Zhang he once again became the focus of everyone's discussion. Everyone believed that with Shao Chen, the Shao clan would not have to worry about the promise of 10 years that would take place a month later. Mo City, Shao clan. After the trial ended, Shao Chen and the other cultivators who were preparing for the promise of 10 years were strictly forbidden from going out by the first elder. At such a crucial moment, if a participant were to get injured, the promise of 10 years would have to cry. Although the Zhang clan and Tang clan guaranteed that they would not play any tricks, this guarantee did not make people feel at ease. At that time, as long as the dead could not tell the truth, it would be fine. In Shao Chen's courtyard, Shao Chen was not in a rush to cultivate. He was currently holding a small knife, carving something on the spiritual wood that he had obtained from the tree spirit. On the stone table, there were all sorts of small sculptures that Shao Chen had carved. From birds and beasts to people, there was everything one could think of. However, the quality of the sculptures varied, and most of them were just a bunch of weird sculptures. A few days after returning from Gloomy Forest, Shao Chen felt that he was on the verge of becoming a martial master. As long as the time was right, he would be able to break through immediately. Thus, he did not spend all his time cultivating. No matter how he cultivated, before the promise of 10 years, he was only an inferior grade martial master. This was not worth it. He might as well make use of this time to study the immortal arts and talismans in the compendium of cultivation. A few days after returning, he bought a large amount of wood and started to train his carving skills. After spending a week carving more than 1,000 sculptures on ordinary wood, Shao Chen started to carve on the piece of spiritual wood. However, he only took a small section. Who? Shao Chen gently placed this piece of sculpture that was the size of a finger in his hand. This was a swallow, the creature from his previous life. Although it looked similar, Shao Chen felt that it was lacking some charm. Second young master, are you carving again? You sure are free. I just saw Miss Yulan and Xiao Jian sparring in the dueling grounds. They are working hard, Bao said as she walked over with a large bag on her back. When Shao Chen heard this, he smiled gently. He picked up one of the sculptures on the stone table and said to Bao, "This is for you. Do you think it looks like it?" Bao received it and took a look. She discovered that the sculpture was carved in her image. She blushed and felt joy in her heart. She said, "Second young master, you are really something. You actually managed to carve Bao." After she said that, she placed the things she bought to the side. She picked up the sculpture and ran away shyly. Shao Chen looked at Bao's back and smiled faintly. Looking at the things she bought, he felt very grateful in his heart. In the past few days, Shao Chen could not go out. The things he wanted to buy were all done by Bao. Furthermore, his consumption was huge. To a girl, it was very tiring. Carrying the things Bao bought, Shao Chen slowly walked towards his room. After he entered his room, the relaxed expression on Shao Chen's face disappeared. He held the swallow carved from the spiritual wood in his hand. He focused his mind and gently tapped it. The spiritual energy on the swallow suddenly became incomparably dense, giving off the glow of life. Flap, flap. The swallow grew larger and was now the size of a normal bird. It flapped its wings in the air and actually came to life. A clear and melodious cry could be heard. It was very refreshing. Success! Shao Chen exclaimed in joy. This was a spell from the Compendium of Cultivation, the Life Bestowal spell. It could conjure a high-level creature out of thin air. However, Shao Chen's cultivation was too low. He had not reached the level of conjuring beings into soldiers. He needed to first carve out the creature he wanted to create. Furthermore, the material had to have spiritual energy. In the past few days, he had tried many times with ordinary wood carvings. However, he had not succeeded once. Today, he used the spiritual wood carving to complete this spell. Xiao Chen extended his hand into the air, and the swallow sensed Xiao Chen's intentions. It flapped its wings and flew into his hand. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and gently stroked the creature he created. Then, he placed his hand into the air, and it circled around again. Xiao Chen retracted his gaze and turned to the things Bauer bought. He took them out one by one and placed them on the table. A writing brush, a large bottle of spirit beast blood, and a stack of yellow paper were all taken out by Xiao Chen. These yellow papers were not ordinary paper. They were made from the fur and bones of spirit beasts. They were very expensive. When Xiao Chen found out that there was such ready-made spirit paper for sale in this world, he was excited for an entire day. These papers were naturally made to create talismans. However, the people of this world only saw their antiseptic properties. Using them to record important documents and books was simply overkill. Talismans were one of the most important offensive methods of immortal technique. In the past, Xiao Chen did not have time to study them because his cultivation was not high enough. On the eve of a great battle, Xiao Chen was unexpectedly free. It would be a pity if he did not study them now. Xiao Chen poured the spirit beast blood into the ink bottle. Then, he took out a rank 3 demonic core. After crushing it, he turned it into powder and placed it into the ink bottle. The bottle containing the spirit beast blood instantly boiled. Gray blood rose from the surface, and the red blood turned into a rich purple. With the addition of the demonic core and spirit beast blood, Xiao Chen saw that the spiritual qi in the blood had increased by several times. He felt a wave of satisfaction in his heart. Holding the writing brush in his hand, Xiao Chen dipped it into the purple spiritual liquid. Then, he began to draw the talisman. With a thought, the surrounding spiritual qi began to slowly flow towards the tip of the brush. Following Xiao Chen's actions, one talisman after another appeared on the yellow paper. Wherever the purple spiritual liquid passed, it would emit a faint glow. When Xiao Chen completed the final stroke, the light on the yellow paper suddenly flared up. Rays of light followed the strange talisman on the yellow paper, forming a small array. Xiao Chen put away the brush and quickly formed a hand seal with both hands. The light on the yellow paper converged. Following Xiao Chen's hand seal, the paper quickly folded itself. Finally, it turned into a triangular shape and was held in Xiao Chen's hand. Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. This talisman was finally completed in one go without any mistake. Although this was only a basic offensive talisman, Xiao Chen was already very satisfied that he was able to succeed on his first try. Puchi! Xiao Chen waved the talisman in his hand, and the triangular talisman quickly unfurled in the air. After that, it exploded, creating a palm-sized flame wave. The swallow that was happily flying in the air seemed to be startled. It fell to the ground with a piu-tong sound and turned back into a wooden sculpture. There was no spiritual qi on the spirit wood. When Xiao Chen saw this, he could not help but smile bitterly in his heart. Superior quality materials coupled with superior technique. However, because the grade of the talisman was too low, it was not even strong enough to kill a mosquito. What made Xiao Chen even more speechless was that the life bestowal spell's charm was easily broken by this negligible attack. I have to continue working hard. I have to make a higher grade talisman and a stronger wooden sculpture. Xiao Chen encouraged himself. Chapter 74. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The date of the promise of 10 years was getting closer and closer. Xiao Chen locked himself in his room. Studying talismans and the life bestowal spell, he never left his house, living a life that was almost completely isolated from the world. Xiao Chen followed the method in the compendium of cultivation and channeled his spiritual energy into the wooden sculpture in his hand. With a schwa sound, the wooden sculpture transformed into a woman emitting golden light in the air. The woman held a golden spear in her hand and lightly waved her wrist in the air. A stream of dragon chi gathered in the spear and 9 golden dragon shadows rose up behind her, waves of dragon might spreading out in all directions. Boom! Before the smile on Xiao Chen's face could fade, the woman suddenly shattered, turning into a pile of sawdust in the air, slowly drifting down. It still didn't work. Xiao Chen sighed slightly in his heart. Over the past half a month, his achievements in the field of talismans could be considered gratifying. However, he still couldn't officially succeed in the life bestowal spell. Carving some small animals and making them temporarily real was no longer a problem for Xiao Chen. However, he had never really succeeded in making real combat weapons. This girl was carved by him using Yu Ying's image. Yu Ying was the strongest girl he had ever seen. Furthermore, the martial technique she used, Xiao Chen's Battle Sage Origins changing character formula, had also captured a trace of it and was able to successfully merge it. However, after half a month of hard work, Xiao Chen always felt that a trace of the most important charm was missing. As a result, the combat weapons he carved would not last more than 3 seconds. Could it be that he could only succeed after reaching the martial master realm? Xiao Chen wondered in his heart. There was only half a meter of spiritual wood left on the table. Xiao Chen did not have many chances left. This kind of spiritual wood was very difficult to find. Xiao Chen asked Bao to go to Glittering Jewels Pavilion to inquire about it. Even in Cheesy County's Glittering Jewels Pavilion, it was difficult to obtain a piece of spiritual wood in a year. Old spirit wood was even harder to find. Even if there was spirit wood, it wouldn't be Xiao Chen's turn to buy it. That was because this kind of spiritual wood was very popular, and almost as soon as it was put on the shelves, it would be bought by alchemists at a high price. Although Xiao Chen was anxious, he wasn't overly anxious. These things couldn't be rushed. The more anxious you were, the less likely you would be able to find that feeling. Back at the desk, Xiao Chen's somewhat gloomy mood finally improved a little. On the desk were all kinds of talismans that he had made in the past few days. The types of talismans in the Compendium of Cultivation were complex and varied. The various types of talismans dazzled the eyes, making it hard for the eyes to take in. For the sake of convenience, Xiao Chen categorized the talismans into 3 categories: offensive, defensive, and special. The offensive type of talisman mainly used spiritual energy of different attributes to inscribe the runes on the talisman paper. The more complex the talisman, the more attributes it had, the more powerful the attack. Defensive talismans and special talismans were basically the same as offensive talismans in theory, but their specific applications were different. Talismans were divided into 9 ranks, from low to high. With Xiao Chen's current strength, he could only inscribe rank 2 talismans. He could inscribe rank 3 talismans, but the failure rate was too high. Xiao Chen gave up after trying a few times. It consumed too many materials, and the gains did not make up for the losses. Second young master, the first elder invites you to the Great Hall. He says that an honored guest has arrived. Bao Er's melodious voice came from outside the door. Xiao Chen opened the door and walked out. Feeling suspicious, he asked, "Honored guest? Bao do you know who the honored guest is?" Bao smiled mischievously. "It is a great beauty, very beautiful. The first elder is very respectful to her. I think he calls her something like Miss Feng." "Miss Feng? Feng Feishue?" Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. "Is that woman wearing men's clothes?" Bao felt it was strange, so she asked, "Second young master, how did you know?" "Young master, can't I foresee the future?" Xiao Chen smiled gently. "That's right," Xiao Chen thought to himself, "it must be Feng Feishue. How strange, why is she here at our Xiao clan? Furthermore, it is at this time. There is less than half a month left before the promise of 10 years' end. Is it a coincidence that she is here now?" After passing through a few gardens, Xiao Chen did not walk for long before he arrived at the Great Hall. What surprised Xiao Chen was that aside from Xiao Chang and Feng Feishue, Xiao Jian and Xiao Yulan were here as well. Young Master Xiao, it has been a long time. Feng Feishue was dressed in men's clothes. Her delicate eyebrows exuded a heroic spirit. She was still as elegant as before. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. I did not expect to meet you here. Miss Feng is really resourceful to be able to see me everywhere. When the three people at the side saw that Xiao Chen knew Feng Feishue, they were astonished. Xiao Chang asked, Xiao Chen, you already knew Miss Feng? Xiao Yulan and Xiao Jian were curious about Xiao Chang's question as well. They waited for Xiao Chen's reply. Xiao Chen found a chair and sat beside Xiao Yulan. He said, I can't say that I know her, but I have met her a few times. Would First Elder please introduce us? When Xiao Chang heard this, he smiled and said, This is Miss Feng Feishue. Her clan runs a merchant association. It is the largest merchant association in the Great Qin Empire. Their business covers the entire continent. Even in the Great Jin dynasty they are considered one of the top. Her ancestors and our Xiao clan can be considered to have some sort of relationship. When Xiao Chang said this, there was a trace of undetectable sadness in the depths of his eyes. Feng Feishue's sharp senses caught the trace of sadness in Xiao Chang's eyes. She smiled calmly, appearing calm and unruffled. Uncle Xiao is too kind. I am just a businessman. Although she said it very modestly, it was equivalent to her accepting Xiao Chang's words. Xiao Chen and the other two were startled. The Tianwu continent was very big. For her clan to be able to spread their business across the continent, their strength was not to be underestimated. However, how could such a strong power have a relationship with the Xiao clan's ancestors? Even if they did, there was no need for them to pay a visit to the Xiao clan. Xiao Chang looked at the three of them and said, Since the three of you are here, I will inform you of Miss Feng's intentions. After this promise of 10 years, no matter the result, Miss Feng will think of a way to recommend the three of you to the Heavenly Qin School. Heavenly Qin School. When Xiao Chen and the other two heard these words, a huge wave surged in their hearts, unable to calm them down for a long time. The Heavenly Qin School was one of the 5 great schools of the Tianwu continent. It was located in the Great Qin nation's capital. It had existed even before the Great Qin Empire. It was said that the founding emperor of the Great Qin Empire, Ing Zheng, studied in the Heavenly Qin School when he was young. After the empire was established, he immediately made the Heavenly Qin School the national school. In the Tianwu continent, aside from the 3 Orthodox Holy Lands, which had a longer history than the Tianwu dynasty, there were other existences comparable to the Holy Lands. These powers had existed since the Tianwu dynasty. In the hearts of the people, they were not much different from the Holy Land. For example, the 3 great sects of the Great Qin Empire, the Misty Sword Sect, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, and the Night Spirit Palace were such powers. However, the Heavenly Qin School was an existence that was in between the two. It was higher than those fake Holy Lands, but lower than the 3 Orthodox Holy Land. There was another big difference between it and the sections. The school did not interfere in the struggles of any powers. It was just a school. Even when the royal court of the Great Qin Empire had a few internal conflicts, the strong seniors of the school did not interfere. Xiao Jian suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked, With our talent, can we really enter the Heavenly Qin School? Feng Feishue smiled faintly. You don't have to worry about this. The entrance exam of the school is not just a test of cultivation realm. The most important thing is actual combat. Furthermore, even if it is just a cultivation realm, the talent of the 3 of you in the Great Qin Empire is definitely not bad. The most important thing is that a few of the great clans have the right to recommend you. There is no need for you to worry. Xiao Jian was not stupid and quickly understood the meaning behind her word. He directly asked, These quotas should be very precious, right? Do you have any requests for giving them to us? I don't believe that you would be so kind as to give them to us. When Feng Feishu heard this, she smiled gently and said, First young master is really direct. I really do not have any requests. If you don't believe me, you can ask Uncle Xiao. The three of them turned their gazes to Xiao Chang, waiting to see how he would answer. No requests? This was unbelievable. Xiao Chang nodded. There is no need to worry. If you want to go, just say it. If you do not want to go, Miss Feng will not force you. Xiao Jian thanks Miss Feng for her kind intentions. I sincerely want to go. I have offended you with my earlier words. I want to know how big this world is and how many outstanding talents there are. If I were to stay in Mo City for the rest of my life, I would definitely regret it, Xiao Jian said sincerely with a trace of heroism in his words. Xiao Yulan looked at Xiao Chen, and her eyes flickered with hope. She said, Cousin Xiao Chen, are you going? I will wait for father to come out of closed-door training first, Xiao Chen said, evading the responsibility. Although Xiao Chen yearned for the heavenly Qin school, he did not desire it as much as Xiao Jian did. How big was the world? How many outstanding talents there were? Could the heavenly Qin school really find the answer? A single leaf obscures one's eyes, and one cannot see empty tai. The sky that you see might just be a leaf in the eyes of others. Xiao Chen had already made up his mind long ago. After the promise of 10 years, he would definitely leave the Xiao clan. However, after the matter with Ao Jiao, the lunar shadow saber did not hum for him. The place he wanted to go the most was still the heavenly saber pavilion. Thinking of Ao Jiao, Xiao Chen felt a sense of melancholy in his heart. It assaulted him once again, causing him to feel a sense of loss. When Xiao Jian heard Xiao Chen's words, he could not help but feel serious. He could not help but look at the first elder. Xiao Chang smiled faintly. No problem. After the clan head comes out of closed-door training, he will respect your decision and will not stop you. When Xiao Yulan heard the meaning behind Xiao Chen's words, she could not help but feel disappointed. She said dejectedly, Miss Feng, can I consider it for a period of time? Seeing Xiao Yulan's expression, a strange light flashed in Feng Feishue's eyes. However, it disappeared in an instant. She smiled and said, I will not be leaving for a month. You can consider it carefully. She turned her gaze to Xiao Chen and said, Young Master Xiao, can I speak to you privately? Xiao Chen looked at the first elder. When he saw him nod his head, he said, Not a problem. The two of them walked out of the great hall. Xiao Yulan led the way in front. After they arrived at a secluded garden, they stopped. Then, she turned around and stared at Xiao Chen with a pair of eyes brimming with spiritual energy. Xiao Chen said somewhat unnaturally, I wonder why Miss Feng is looking for me? Pussy. Feng Feishue did not reply to him. Suddenly, a folding fan appeared in her hand and she aimed it at Xiao Chen's face. The folding fan gave off a fiery red glow. Just as it was about to reach Xiao Chen, it opened up with a schwa sound. A fiery red lotus soared into the air, looking very alluring. Chapter 75. Facing Feng Feishue's sudden attack, although Xiao Chen was astonished, he did not panic. Feng Feishue's attack was very sharp, but he did not feel any killing chi. Rushing thunder chop. Facing the red fire lotus in front of him, Xiao Chen thought and the lunar shadow saber appeared in his hand. He instantly executed the rushing thunder chop. The black saber light was like rushing thunder as it chopped at the red lotus. Bang! The lotus scattered and turned into red sparks. Under the bright sun, they looked like dancing butterflies. Seeing Xiao Chen execute the rushing thunder chop, a light flashed in Feng Feishue's eyes. She casually waved her hand and the folding fan in her hand changed into a slender saber. Feng Feishue held the saber in her hand and moved her feet slightly. She took a stance and her aura suddenly changed. She became one with the saber, heaven and earth, only her, only the saber. Feng Feishue shouted, Draw the saber! The saber light flashed like an aurora, it was very fast. In an instant, the saber light had already arrived in front of Xiao Chen. Regardless of speed, strength, or angle, this saber strike had reached the peak of a martial master. Xiao Chen's heart moved like lightning. When he saw Feng Feishue take that stance, he immediately thought of the sword strike Ao Jiao used when forging the spirit weapon. Although Feng Feishue had not reached that level of aura, she already had some of the charm of it. Xiao Chen did not dare to be careless and quickly retreated. However, this saber strike was too fast. Even though Xiao Chen had retreated in advance, the saber light still brought about a saber wind. It still managed to blow off a lock of hair on Xiao Chen's forehead, leaving a small wound on his forehead. Faint blood flowed out. What a fast saber strike! Xiao Chen took a deep breath of cold air. However, he did not have the time to sigh at the situation in front of him. Feng Feishue's second saber strike had already arrived. Arc light chop. Feng Feishue waved her wrist gently, and the tip of the saber pointed downwards. From bottom to top, a green arc light appeared. This was a pure arc light created by the saber light. In the garden, wherever the arc of light passed, the flower buds would fly, and the petals would fall in profusion. The petals would dance without any wind. Feng Feishue's elegant and spirited temperament was currently set off by the countless fresh flowers. She was like a fairy from the heavens, pure and untainted, without a speck of dust. However, Xiao Chen could not enjoy this rare beauty. He still had to retreat. The angle of the arc of light from the saber had sealed off all his attack routes. He had no other choice but to retreat. Soaring heaven slash! Feng Feishue shouted and pushed off the ground with the tip of her foot. She turned into a flash of light, and the saber in her hand pierced towards Xiao Chen's face. She carried an indomitable aura as she soared into the sky. What a powerful aura! Xiao Chen exclaimed in his heart. This saber that soared into the sky was not fanciful at all. It was aimed directly at his face. Feng Feishue forced Xiao Chen to exchange moves with her. However, Xiao Chen had already retreated 2 steps. His aura had weakened significantly, and he had lost the initiative. Furthermore, this saber seemed to have reached the realm of being one with the saber. Xiao Chen could not find any openings. He did not know how to break it or how to block this soaring saber. Retreat, he could only continue retreating. However, Feng Feishue had soared into the sky. If he were to leap back again, his body would automatically crash into the tip of the saber. Xiao Chen felt very sullen in his heart. He could only roll back in a sorry state, dodging this soaring saber. This was the most direct and effective method, even though he was in a sorry state. Rushing thunder chop. Feng Feishue, who had soared into the sky, turned around in midair. Her perfect body rose once again in midair, and a clap of thunder resounded behind her. She descended with the momentum of wind and thunder, surging over. At this moment, the half-squatting Xiao Chen did not have the time to get up. When he saw Feng Feishue's saber surging over with the might of wind and thunder, he was indescribably horrified. Is this the true rushing thunder chop? Xiao Chen thought in his heart. From the moment he drew his saber, his aura rose continuously, forcing the enemy to retreat again and again. However, his own aura rose higher and higher. When the enemy's aura fell to rock bottom, his own aura rose to the peak. Then, he executed this killing move. Rushing thunder surged in one breath. It was indeed unstoppable. At this moment, Xiao Chen did not have much time to think. He had no way to retreat from this saber. If he took another step back, he would immediately be chopped in half. He could only passively defend. When his aura was at its weakest, he would block the opponent's saber that had reached its peak. What a brilliant saber technique! Although the situation was dire, Xiao Chen could not help but praise in his heart. Pu Si. Xiao Chen stood up ferociously and swung his lunar shadow saber upwards. The electricity on the saber radiated in all directions, and the boundless might of the rank 6 demonic core was released without holding anything back. He only hoped to raise his aura in the shortest amount of time possible. Bang! Feng Feishue's saber, which carried the might of rushing thunder, hacked ruthlessly at Xiao Chen's lunar shadow saber. A resplendent electric light suddenly split open between the two sabers. Pu Tong! The huge force from the saber was instantly transmitted to his arm, then to his feet. Xiao Chen stumbled and took 2 steps back. Rushing thunder second chain chop. After Feng Feishue landed, she shouted loudly and held her saber with both hands. She took a step forward and slashed horizontally at Xiao Chen. This saber connected the supreme aura of the previous saber. The aura that had already reached its peak rose once again, reaching a shocking level. Bang! Xiao Chen's hurried defense was not able to block this saber, and he was sent flying. His body flew backwards, and Xiao Chen did his best to flip in midair, barely managing to stabilize himself. The qi and blood in his body churned, and his internal organs seemed to be trembling. However, Xiao Chen knew that Feng Feishue did not use her full strength in this attack. Otherwise, he would not have been able to block it. Feng Feishue held her saber and stood upright. She said apologetically, "Young Master Xiao, I have offended you. The Heavenly Qin School has a complete record of this rushing thunder saber technique. As long as you decide to go to the Heavenly Qin School, there are many similar time-scattered martial techniques in the Heavenly Qin School. At that time, you will definitely benefit greatly." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. After fighting for so long, she was trying to persuade me to go to the Heavenly Qin School. Feng Feishue, you are really interesting. After hearing Feng Feishue's explanation, the anger in Xiao Chen's heart had already disappeared. Xiao Chen also knew that Feng Feishue had been holding back from the very first move. Furthermore, she did not reveal any killing intent from start to finish. It could only be said that her heart was sincere. This kind of direct method was very compatible with Xiao Chen's temper. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen could not go. Xiao Chen stood up, and after he stabilized himself, he suddenly drew his saber. It was the stance that Feng Feishue had used earlier. Feng Feishue's eyes revealed a trace of astonishment. This attack was not much slower than her own. Feng Feishue tossed away the saber in her hand, and the folding fan reappeared in her hand. A fiery red lotus appeared under her feet, and with a gentle push, she appeared 10 meters away. The red lotus bloomed again where her feet landed. Young Master Xiao, after Feng Feishue stood up, she wanted to say something. However, Xiao Chen did not give her the opportunity. He instantly executed the lightning evasion and appeared in front of her. He used the arc-light chop, and a long arc of light appeared in the air. Feng Feishue was different from Xiao Chen. She had practiced the rushing thunder saber technique for a period of time, and understood the essence of this saber technique. She knew that she could not retreat at this moment, or else she would keep retreating, and her aura would fall to rock bottom. She tilted her body slightly, and pointed her folding fan forward. Coincidentally, it collided with the lunar shadow saber in Xiao Chen's hand. Boom! However, the huge force that came from the saber shocked Feng Feishue. She had always thought that Xiao Chen was only a peak martial disciple, so she had controlled her essence to be at the inferior grade martial master realm. She was afraid that she would accidentally injure Xiao Chen. However, she did not expect that Xiao Chen's strength was far from what a peak martial disciple could compare to. Feng Feishue stepped on the red lotus and retreated a few steps. Rushing heaven chop. Xiao Chen did not wait for her to stabilize herself. He soared into the air, and the tip of his saber headed straight for Feng Feishue's face. This was the move that had once put Xiao Chen in a sorry state, and now it was being used on Feng Feishue. What made Xiao Chen slightly disappointed was that even though Feng Feishue retreated, she retreated much more freely than Xiao Chen. The lotus bloomed and flickered in the air, causing Feng Feishue to retreat 3 steps. Rushing thunder chop. Xiao Chen shouted angrily in the air, and a clap of thunder resounded behind him. It carried the might of wind and thunder as it surged forward. This was a move that Xiao Chen had used for a long time. This time, he used it in a different way. Xiao Chen could clearly feel the difference between the two. Resolve. Feng Feishue said softly in her heart. 2 fiery red lotus flowers appeared in her eyes. The folding fan in her hand, which was originally giving off a faint glow, became completely dull. It looked very ordinary, and its brilliance was completely withdrawn. She lightly waved her hand upwards, blocking Xiao Chen's saber that was descending from the sky. There was no startling sound, and there was no shockwave from the collision. She simply blocked Xiao Chen's lightning-fast saber in such a casual manner. This forcefully interrupted Xiao Chen's aura, which had risen to its peak. This was like a person who was about to reach climax, only to have a bucket of cold water poured over him. Xiao Chen landed on the ground, feeling incomparably depressed. He could no longer use the rushing thunder second chain chop. The feeling of being forcefully interrupted by someone was not a good one. The scarlet lotus in Feng Feishue's eyes disappeared, and she smiled gently. How is it? You have experienced the might of the complete version of this martial technique. It is not something that an incomplete martial technique can compare to. There are many such martial techniques in the Heavenly Qin School. With the talent you displayed, your cultivation will definitely soar. Furthermore, this rushing thunder saber technique still has a rushing thunder third chain chop. Even I am unable to use it. After you go, you will be able to learn it immediately. Xiao Chen calmed himself down and felt that it was quite funny. This Feng Feishue was like a wolf grandmother, enticing him non-stop. Based on his intuition, he was sure that Feng Feishue did not have any malicious intentions towards him. Unfortunately, although Feng Feishue's cultivation was very high, she was still unable to hear the sound of the saber. Xiao Qin walked to the side and picked up the saber that Feng Feishue had thrown to the side. Miss Feng, can you hear its sound? Feng Feishue was stunned for a moment, and did not know what to say. She said, You are talking about listening to the sword and communicating with it, right? I am unable to do that. The ability to resonate with a weapon had nothing to do with one's cultivation. It was completely dependent on one's comprehension. Many of the ancient seniors in the Heavenly Qin School were unable to comprehend this realm. Feng Feishue's main weapon was not the saber, so naturally, she would not be able to hear the sound of the saber. Xiao Qin cupped his hands and thanked her. I am truly grateful for Miss Feng's recommendation. However, Xiao Qin wishes to find a place where he can hear the sound of the saber. I already have someone in mind, so I can only decline Miss Feng's good intentions. After Xiao Qin spoke, he turned around and left. Feng Feishue looked at Xiao Qin's back and frowned. She was deep in thought. If he did not go to the imperial capital, it would be difficult. If he did, he would not be able to guarantee his safety. Chapter 76. Xiao Qin walked quickly to his courtyard. In the earlier battle, he had comprehended some things. The essence in his body flowed continuously. It seemed like he was about to advance. After he used the inferior grade spirit stone, his cultivation had already reached the peak of superior grade martial disciple. After that, in the trial of Gloomy Forest, his superior grade martial disciple realm became even more perfect. After he returned, he felt that he already had 1 foot in the martial master realm. All he needed was a fortuitous encounter, and he would be able to break through immediately. In his room, Xiao Chen sat cross-legged and entered a state of cultivation. He sank his consciousness into the blue dragon martial spirit, which had increased to 8 white clouds after advancing to superior grade martial disciple, was currently glistening with a bright luster. It seemed like it was about to explode. I am really going to advance. Xiao Qin rejoiced in his heart. Although he had guessed long ago that he would become a martial master before the promise of 10 years, he would only feel at ease when he actually entered the martial master realm. The purple thunder divine incantation circulated rapidly in his body. Xiao Chen's heart was like still water as he immersed himself in this wondrous state. The surrounding spiritual energy continuously poured into Xiao Chen's body. Xiao Chen's consciousness controlled the surging spiritual energy in his body. Under the circulation of the purple thunder divine incantation, it circulated through the meridians in his body for a small cycle before flowing into his dantian. The little azure dragon in his dantian opened its mouth and sucked in the spiritual qi. An extremely satisfied expression appeared on its tiny dragon face. After a while, it spat out a puff of pure primordial qi. Xiao Chen controlled this essence and let it flow out slowly through his meridians. After that, it permeated his entire body, tempering his body. Aside from the time when he used the spirit stone to advance, this was something that Xiao Chen had to do every time he advanced. Because his martial spirit had awakened late, most of the spiritual energy in his early years had been used to temper his body. This was an advantage that would be very useful in battles. Xiao Chen did not want to give up on this advantage. As long as he worked hard, his body would be tempered to the point where it would be as tough as steel. The purple thunder divine incantation circulated continuously in his body. After 49 minor cycles, Xiao Chen could feel the explosive excitement of his martial spirit becoming increasingly intense. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and stopped circulating his minor heavenly cycle. Instead, he started circulating his major heavenly cycle, officially breaking through to martial master. Under Xiao Chen's circulation, the spiritual energy in the room surged into his body like water. Xiao Chen absorbed the spiritual energy for an entire hour before he began to circulate it. This spirit qi, which was stronger and thicker than ever, slowly moved through Xiao Chen's meridians. Xiao Chen pressed the acupoints on the meridians unhurriedly, advancing step by step. After another hour, the purple thunder divine incantation finally completed a cycle. This surging spiritual energy flowed towards the dantian like a surging river. The blue dragon martial spirit excitedly opened its mouth as if it was eating a delicacy. It continuously absorbed this large amount of spiritual qi. The white clouds around it became brighter and brighter, as if they were going to explode in the next moment. Boom! After an unknown amount of time, Xiao Chen's martial spirit finally gave off an explosive sound. The 8 white clouds suddenly exploded, and the area around the martial spirit turned chaotic. However, Xiao Chen did not feel any discomfort. Instead, it was as if he had reached his limit and was suddenly released. This feeling was something that Xiao Chen had experienced when he advanced in the past. However, it was not as comfortable as it was now. All the pores on his body opened up, and black impurities flowed out from them. After half an hour, Xiao Chen controlled his consciousness and slowly sunk it into the martial spirit. The originally chaotic martial spirit now became clear. When he reached the dantian, Xiao Chen's consciousness seemed to have entered a whole new space. The white clouds from before had all disappeared, and there was only a pool of clear water where the martial spirit was. Even the tiny blue dragon had disappeared. What's going on? Where's the blue dragon martial spirit? Xiao Chen thought suspiciously. Pu Tong. Suddenly, there was a splash in the pool of clear water. The cute head of the tiny blue dragon popped out of the water, and it flowed happily in the clear water. Xiao Chen's consciousness captured a splash of water and observed it carefully. After a while, Xiao Chen was overjoyed. This pool of clear water was actually Xiao Chen's new essence storage space. When he observed it earlier, the essence contained in that splash of water was actually 1/10 of the previous white clouds. Xiao Chen thought to himself, this pool of clear water was about the size of 2 palms in this space. The amount of essence contained in a single splash of water was 1/10 of the previous white clouds. With such a large pool of clear water, it was unknown how much spiritual energy it contained. In the future, no matter if he was refining medicine or fighting with others, he would not have to worry about running out of essence. Xiao Chen even had an urge to immediately go out and see if he had enough essence to execute the blue dragon goes to sea. If he could, then he would be unrivaled in the promise of 10 years. Once he executed a heaven-ranked martial technique, even a martial Grand Master at his peak would not be able to block it. Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes. 2 beams of purple light shot out from them. Xiao Chen did not know what this purple light was. Every time he advanced in cultivation, his eyes would appear with this kind of purple light. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen did not continue thinking about this problem. He looked at the disgusting black sticky substance all over his body and could not help but smile bitterly to himself. It looks like I will have to change my clothes every time I advance in cultivation. With this sticky substance on his body, Xiao Chen felt extremely uncomfortable. He quickly went to take a bath. After washing up and changing his clothes, Xiao Chen felt his entire body was refreshed. He was in high spirits and his eyes were brimming with energy. He felt like he had an inexhaustible amount of energy in his body. Second young master, where have you been? I have been looking for you for a long time. When Bao saw Xiao Chen outside the courtyard, she quickly ran over excitedly. Xiao Chen smiled. Why are you looking for me? I just went to take a bath. When Bao heard this, she sized up Xiao Chen. Her eyes revealed an infatuated look. A blush appeared on her face as she said in a soft voice, Second young master, you seem to have become more handsome. Could it be that after advancing to martial master, a person's temperament would change? Xiao Chen thought suspiciously. However, there had never been a girl who praised his good looks in front of him before. Xiao Chen smiled awkwardly. You still have not told me why you are looking for me. Bao came to her senses and quickly said, Before Miss Feng left, she told me to pass this book to you. She also told me to pass a message to you. In the future, if you change your mind, you can look for her anytime. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. This girl is really unwilling to give up. He took the book that Bao handed over and took a look. His expression changed slightly. This was actually the complete handwritten copy of the rushing thunder saber technique. Feng Feishu actually gave such a precious thing to him. How long has Miss Feng been gone? Xiao Chen asked as he put away the book. Bao replied obediently, She has been gone for a long time. It should be almost 2 hours, right? Looks like I won't be able to catch up, Xiao Chen said with some regret. He did not like to receive favors from others for no reason. I will definitely return this favor in the future. Xiao Chen muttered to himself as he looked at the handwritten copy of the rushing thunder saber technique. After returning to his room, Xiao Chen placed the rushing thunder saber technique manual into the universe ring. He did not look at it immediately. He had another important thing to do. Xiao Chen took out the half-meter-long spiritual wood and used a small knife to cut off a thumb-sized piece. Then, he started to carve it carefully. The life bestowal spell was an extremely strong spell. Although he had never succeeded before, Xiao Chen had never thought of giving up on it. Now that he had advanced to martial master, the thing that Xiao Chen wanted to do the most was to continue trying it out. In his mind, Xiao Chen recalled the battle between Yu Ying and Yi Qinzhou. He carefully carved out Yu Ying's appearance, stroke by stroke. Who? Not long after, Xiao Chen finished carving. He gently blew off the wood dregs on the wooden sculpture and carefully observed it in his hands. The appearance of the girl on the wooden sculpture was almost exactly the same as in Xiao Chen's memory. However, when Xiao Chen looked at it, he felt that something was missing. The expression of the girl on the wooden sculpture was solemn. Her eyebrows were slightly furrowed. Even though she was not angry, she exuded a majestic aura. Even though she was an inanimate object, she looked like a queen. Queen? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. A certain chord in his mind seemed to have moved. He seemed to have caught onto something that he had not noticed before. That's right, queen. How could Yu Ying be a queen? Xiao Chen suddenly said in pleasant surprise. He finally understood where he had been wrong all this while. His heart was too heavy on benefit. He only remembered how Ying looked like when she was fighting. She was like a queen who ruled over the world. Thus, he carved Ying with the appearance of a queen. However, Ying was not a queen. In Xiao Chen's mind, her awkward expression when her stomach growled appeared. He thought of her blushing face when she called him a perverted thief. This was a person with flesh and blood. The life bestowal spell. Since his cultivation realm was not high enough, he had to make up for it. He had to carve out a living Ying. Otherwise, he would not be able to achieve much with just the appearance. Xiao Chen cut out another thumb-sized piece of spiritual wood. He moved the knife in his hand like it was flying. He completely merged Ying's appearance when she was in battle and when she was injured. However, this kind of thing was easy to think of, but it was extremely difficult to do. Xiao Chen continued to carve, and then he continued to deny it. When there was only a small section of the half-meter-long spiritual wood left, Xiao Chen finally completed a work that he was satisfied with. The Absolute Beauty held a golden spear in her hand. On her stern and dignified face, there was a faint smile. She did not have that threatening boldness from before, but there was a hint of gentleness of a girl. Of course, these were not what Xiao Chen was most satisfied with. What he was most satisfied with was that this Absolute Beauty only wore a red bra. I wonder if she would kill me on the spot when she sees this work. Xiao Chen looked at the wooden sculpture in his hand and laughed mockingly. Maybe she herself did not know that this was her true self. Tossing aside all distracting thoughts, Xiao Chen focused and decided to merge the dragon qi that Ying gave him into it. If he failed again this time, then the dragon qi that could save his life at the crucial moment would be wasted. Chapter 77. With a thought, the blue dragon in Xiao Chen's dantian slowly swam out of the water. It opened its mouth and spat out a stream of golden dragon qi. The dragon qi followed the meridians and flowed out of his body, appearing in Xiao Chen's right hand. This stream of dragon qi contained an extremely strong energy. It was the true dragon qi that had been passed down in the great Qi nation for thousands of years. Ying was willing to give him one. Xiao Chen was somewhat astonished. If this dragon qi was completely unleashed, even a martial saint would be severely injured. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it could save Xiao Chen's life. Who? Xiao Chen carefully infused the dragon qi into the wooden sculpture. A golden halo appeared at the feet of the wooden sculpture. When the last strand of dragon qi entered the wooden sculpture, the entire wooden sculpture started to give off a resplendent golden glow. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and with a thought, the clear water in his martial spirit started to churn. The dense essence slowly flowed to his right hand. He raised his hand and placed it on the forehead of the wooden sculpture. Hu Qi. A boundless amount of essence flowed into the wooden sculpture through his finger. His finger gave off a faint glow. The essence was continuously consumed, as though it was endless. After a while, the clear water was reduced by half. Xiao Chen was astonished. This life bestowal spell actually consumed such a large amount of essence. No wonder he could not complete this spell before he became a martial master. With the purity and strength of the essence that a martial disciple possessed, it was impossible to complete this spell. Furthermore, his carving skills were not up to par. Naturally, he would fail every time. Shua. When the essence in Xiao Chen's body was only left with a quarter, the wooden sculpture suddenly grew bigger. Ying appeared in front of Xiao Chen, holding a spear in her hand and wearing only a bra. She gently waved the golden spear in her hand, and 9 golden dragon images appeared behind her. With a hong sound, the dragon images flew around in the air before they all merged into her spear. Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. With a thought, Ying turned into a beam of light and appeared in his hand, turning back into a wooden sculpture. Success. After countless attempts, he finally succeeded this time. In the future, even if he were to meet a martial saint expert, he would be able to face them calmly. Xiao Chen thought joyfully as he grasped the wooden sculpture tightly in his hand. There was less than half a month to the promise of 10 years. Undercurrents surged within Mo City. Within a secret room of the Tang clan in Mo City, the Tang clan's clan head, the Zhang clan's clan head, the mysterious blue-robed old man, and the two clans' worshippers. The master of the Zhang clan said anxiously, "Senior Ling, when can you give me the energy-gathering pill? You must know that for the great cause of your Ling clan, I have to give it to you. I've thrown caution to the wind, and now even my eldest son is crippled. You can't just ignore it." The blue-clothed martial saint smiled gently and said, "Old Zhang, there is no need to be anxious. There is no need for me to explain how precious the returning essence pill is. It can allow one to recondense a martial spirit. Yesterday, Jiao Ying sent news that my clan head requested one from the Misty Sword sect. It should arrive tonight." The Zhang clan head revealed a joyful expression and said, "Thank you, Senior Ling. I can't thank you enough." The blue-clad man waved his hand and said, "Old Zhang, there is no need to be so polite. We still have to rely on your young master and the Tang clan's young master for the promise of 10 years. Helping you is helping ourselves." When Tang Tian, who was at the side, heard that the Zhang clan's clan head had obtained a restoration pellet, he felt dissatisfied and said, "Senior Ling, my eldest son died at such a young age. Why didn't you give me any compensation?" The expression on the blue-clothed man's face changed slightly. He said, "Old Tang, what you said is not right. Regarding the matter of the six-tailed spirit fox, I did not let down your Tang clan. I did what I could. However, the one who killed your son is Shao Chun. And as far as I know, your eldest son's talent is mediocre, and you usually don't take him to heart." Tang Tian's face turned black. The man in blue was right. He could not find any words to refute him. He snorted and did not say a word. When the blue-clothed man saw the situation, his expression relaxed. He smiled and said, "Old Tang, there is no need to be too anxious. After the promise of 10 years is over, we will obtain the Seven-Horn Mountain Range and establish our Ling clan. At that time, the position of Supreme Elder will definitely be yours." When Tang Tian heard this, the expression on his face eased up. He said, "However, the 3 people from the Shao clan are all very strong. Not to mention the terrifying Shao Chen, there is still Shao Jian and Shao Yulan, who are both martial masters. I'm afraid that even if Zhang He recovers his strength, he will not be able to defeat them." The blue-clothed man laughed coldly. "Is that Shao Chen very strong? I don't think so. He was just lucky to kill an injured martial grand master. He is not even a martial master, how strong can he be? Furthermore, even if he is very strong, he needs to have the opportunity to participate in the competition in one piece. Otherwise, no matter how strong he is, it would be pointless." Tang Tian and the Zhang clan head looked at each other and said, "Could it be that Senior Ling is prepared to personally cripple that brat before the competition? However, doesn't the Shao clan have a martial saint expert?" The blue-clothed man said indifferently, "In another 2 days, the clan head of my Ling clan will bring 3 martial saint elders to Mo City personally. This promise of 10 years was set by the city lord of Mo City. It is not good to break it openly, but it is still possible to play some tricks behind the scenes. As for that martial saint of the Shao clan, haha, he is just an inferior grade martial saint. My clan head would be able to destroy him with a wave of his hand." The clan heads of the Zhang clan and Tang clan were all astonished. With this, including the blue-clothed man, the 5 martial saint experts of the Ling clan were all here. With such a strong strength, just these 5 people would be enough to sweep through the Shao clan. After the life bestowal spell succeeded, Shao Chun spent the rest of his time on consolidating his cultivation as an inferior grade martial master and inscribing talismans. As a martial master, his essence was much more abundant. Shao Chun attempted to inscribe rank 3 talismans a few more times. His success rate was much higher than before. As long as he cultivated the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation to the 3rd layer, He would be able to guarantee a 90% success rate. The days passed in such a boring manner. In the blink of an eye, another week had passed. "Cousin Xiao Chen, are you there?" On this day, Xiao Chen was in his room, inscribing a rank 3 dual-attributed offensive talisman. When he heard Xiao Yulan's voice, he quickly stopped what he was doing. The instant Xiao Chen stopped, the spiritual energy on the talisman completely disappeared. A flame immediately appeared on the talisman paper, turning it into ashes. This was how inscribing talismans was. If one could not complete it in one go, then all the previous efforts would be wasted. Xiao Chen felt it was a pity. This rank 3 ice-fire talisman was just a little bit away from completion. If he was lucky, he would have succeeded. When he opened the door, Xiao Chen was slightly astonished. Aside from Xiao Yulan, Xiao Jian, Xiao Ling Yilan, and the others who participated in the trial of Gloomy Forest were all present. "What are you all doing? Why are you all here?" Xiao Chen said in surprise. Xiao Ling face was full of smiles as she said, "Elder brother Xiao Chen, you still don't know? The first elder gave us a day off today, specially allowing us to go out for a day. All of us decided to go to Mo City for a walk, except for you." Xiao Chen suddenly understood. The first elder's actions were not wrong. After all, they were a group of youths. If they were to be locked up in their rooms, they would get sick. However, a doubt arose in Xiao Chen's heart. With so many people going out, what would happen if something happened? Xiao Ling knew what he was worried about. She pointed her lily-white hands in a direction and said, "Look over there, there is that consecrated person protecting us. We will be fine." Xiao Chen looked in the direction she pointed and discovered Lu Fenglin standing outside the courtyard, resting with his eyes closed. There were a few martial grand masters of the Xiao clan following behind him. Xiao Chen laughed involuntarily in his heart. The first elder was really willing to go all out. For the sake of this group of people, he had sent over half of the Xiao clan's peak martial strength. In that case, let's go. Xiao Chen did not hesitate and followed the group towards Mo City. Mo City was bustling with people. It was as bustling as it was in the past. Everyone followed the flow of people and wandered around the street. Xiao Chen suddenly discovered that regardless of which world he was in, the desire of girls to shop was always this strong. Among the 10 of them, aside from Xiao Jian and him, the other boys all had bags of various sizes hanging on them. Yilan was the most miserable. He was in charge of carrying the things that Xiao Ling bought. Every part of his body that could be used to hang something was covered. "Let's go to the Cultivator Plaza to take a look." Yilan finally could not take it anymore and suggested, hoping to divert Xiao Ling's attention. Cultivator Plaza. Xiao Chen had an idea. The promise of 10 years would be held in the Cultivator Plaza in 7 days. If he went there now to understand the situation, it would definitely be of some help when the duels officially started. "Cousin Yulan, how about we go and take a look? The duels will be held in 7 days, it would be good to understand the venue." Xiao Yulan smiled faintly, "We'll listen to cousin Xiao Chen." Yilan and the rest of the guys looked at Xiao Yulan with incomparable gratitude. They all heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. Only Xiao Ling was a little dissatisfied. She was still complaining that the things she bought were too few. When Yilan heard this, he felt like crying. The Cultivator Plaza was the center of Mo City. In the middle of the plaza stood a statue of 100 meters tall. When Yilan heard this, he felt like crying. Every city in the continent would have a Cultivator Plaza. In the plaza there would be a tall statue. The person carved in the statue was basically the famous Emperor Wu of the continent. There were 16 arenas made of heavenly mountain stones surrounding the statue. One of the arenas was especially eye-catching. Its height and area were much larger than the surrounding arenas. These arenas were all managed by the city lord's residents. The Tianwu continent loved martial art. Normally, this place would be filled with people. However, at this moment, it was a forbidden area, and outsiders were not allowed to enter. Every year, Mo City would hold a large-scale martial competition at the Cultivator Plaza. The martial competition was personally organized by the city lord's residents, and there were generous prizes. Aside from this, one could also gain fame and be favored by the various large clans and the city lord's residents. That was the most bustling time of the year in Mo City. Furthermore, this year's martial competition coincided with the promise of 10 years between the three large clans of Mo City. One could imagine the bustling scene at that time. It would be a terrifying scene. Hence, the city lord's residents had sealed off the Cultivator Plaza half a month ago. They had started to carry out repairs and rehearsals for the martial competition, ensuring that there would not be any accidents. However, the ban on outsiders was not a problem for the Shao clan. After they reported their identities, the people from the city lord's residence did not stop them. Everyone walked towards the statue of the Tianwu Emperor in the middle of the plaza. In front of the Tianwu Emperor from 10,000 years ago, the originally restless crowd started to calm down. Just at this moment, Shao Qin suddenly felt two gazes filled with killing intent staring at him. He turned his head and saw that in the arena not far away, Tang Feng and Zhang He, who were originally sparring, had stopped and were looking at him coldly. Zhang He actually had a martial technique? Shao Qin was sure that he did not see wrongly. The two of them had indeed exchanged blows earlier. Furthermore, Zhang He had even used a martial technique. What is going on? Shao Qin's heart was filled with doubts. Just as he was thinking, Tang Feng and Zhang He jumped off the arena and walked towards him. Chapter 78. The crowd in front of the Tianwu Emperor's statue also noticed Tang Feng and Zhang He walking over, as well as the elders of the two clans behind them. As the promise of 10 years approached, the three clans put in a lot of effort to protect the participants. Under the bright sun, the people of the Shao clan, the Zhang clan, and the Tang clan faced each other silently in front of the Tianwu Emperor's statue. Shao Qin, it's been a long time, Zhang He said slowly as he walked forward. When Shao Jian, who was in the crowd, saw Zhang He for the first time, flames of anger appeared in his eyes. His right hand clenched tightly into a fist, giving off a crisp sound. When he thought about what happened that day, his heart was tormented. At this moment, when he heard Zhang He's voice, he could no longer hold it in. Zhang He, do you dare to fight me? Zhang He smiled coldly. Who do you think you are? I am speaking to Shao Qin. Why are you interrupting? You are just trash. Do you really think that you are the strongest person in Mo City? When Shao Jian heard this, he was startled. He said angrily, Zhang He, don't go overboard. Shao Qin looked coldly at Zhang He. The lunar shadow saber suddenly appeared in his hand as he took a step forward. His aura suddenly rose to its peak. He was one with the saber, heaven and earth, only him, only the saber. Drawing the saber. A saber light flashed and Shao Qin suddenly made his move. Zhang He was startled. He did not expect that Shao Qin would make a move against him in front of everyone without saying a word. Zhang He quickly retreated. Unfortunately, this saber was too fast and it was released suddenly. He executed the heavenly rock spreading wings movement technique to its peak. However, a bright red wound appeared on his right arm, and blood immediately flowed out. The elders of the Zhang clan and Tang clan immediately rushed forward anxiously to protect him. However, when they saw Lu Fenglin standing quietly behind them, no one dared to take a step forward. The elders of the Shao clan also came forward. In an instant the atmosphere was extremely tense. Zhang He said angrily, Shao Qin, you actually dare to injure me in front of everyone. Shao Qin sheathed his saber and smiled indifferently. When it comes to barking, I always use my fists and not my mouth. Could it be that when a dog bites me, you want me to bite it back? Shao Jian's words did not contain a single vulgar word, causing Zhang He to feel like his head was about to explode. Shao Jian immediately felt much better. Brother Zhang, there's no need to lower yourself to their level. They won't last long, Tang Feng advised. Zhang He calmed himself down and thought about what his father had told him in the morning. He slowly calmed down and said to Xiao Chen, "Xiao Chen, I will make you pay sooner or later. I will return the humiliation I suffered that day several-fold." Xiao Chen did not say anything. The purple thunder divine incantation circulated rapidly in his body. Suddenly, his right hand pointed at Zhang He, who was in the crowd. A tiny strand of purple flame shot out. In order for Xiao Chen to speed up his attack, he did not revolve this wisp of flame at his fingertips, so its power was not great. The flame brushed past Zhang He's head before dissipating into the air. It disappeared in an instant as if it had never happened. Pooh! Within the crowd, a flame suddenly appeared on Zhang He's head. The hair that Zhang He had grown with great difficulty in the past month was set ablaze once again. Xiao Chen did not infuse much essence into this flame. It left as quickly as it came. After 2 seconds it was extinguished. However, Zhang He's head was charred. There was a black stench coming from it, and green smoke was emitting from it. The surrounding people all moved away, and the people of the Xiao clan all laughed out loud. Even the Tang clan disciples that were with them covered their mouths and laughed secretly. "Xiao Chen!" Zhang He cried out hoarsely. The emotions that he had just calmed down could no longer remain calm. Under the instructions of the elders, some of the Zhang clan disciples at the side pulled back the berserk Zhang He, not letting him rush out. Tang Feng held the ice-fire bow in his hand, and could not bear to watch any longer. He said to Xiao Chen, don't go overboard. Don't you think you have gone overboard? 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 Xiao Chen laughed coldly in his heart, pointing at my nose and threatening me in front of so many people. You actually say I have gone overboard? In the eyes of these people, does the world revolve around them? Xiao Chen said coldly, I already said it before. I will not lower myself to the level of a dog. When a dog barks, I always use my fists and not my mouth. Seeing the other party not daring to say anything, Xiao Chen sighed in his heart. Indeed, everything in this world is built on strength. If the other party did not see Lu Fenglin here, he would probably be the one being humiliated. Xiao Chen did not believe it. Because Zhang He had not seen him for a long time and missed him, he came over to greet him. Zhang He and Tang Feng were clearly relying on their numbers to come over and humiliate him. However, they did not expect that Lu Fenglin would be here. That was why they suffered such a huge loss. After a long time, the stench on Zhang He's head finally dissipated. He really did not want to stay here any longer. He brought the crowd and left. Before he left, he wanted to say something. However, when he thought of what happened earlier, he forced back the words he wanted to say. He only glared at Xiao Chen fiercely. After this group of people caused such a ruckus, Xiao Yulan and the others were no longer in the mood to continue strolling around. Before they left, Xiao Chen looked at the 100-meter-tall statue of the Tianwu Emperor behind him. Xiao Chen was deep in thought. The supreme heavenly flame that could incinerate the entire continent, the one that used his own strength to establish a dynasty that lasted for 10,000 years, unifying the Tianwu continent. These were the legends of the Tianwu Emperor. Even though 10,000 years had passed and the Tianwu dynasty had already been destroyed, the people of the world could not forget the Tianwu Emperor. This was the prestige of the Tianwu Emperor. In his era there were many outstanding people. However, they were all trampled under his feet, becoming stepping stones for him to become the Tianwu Emperor. In the end, they were all destroyed in the river of time. After 10,000 years, will I, Xiao Chen, be like the Tianwu Emperor, standing here without dying, or will I become a stepping stone for others? Late at night, the full moon hung high in the sky, and the sky was filled with stars. Xiao Residence, Xiao Chen's courtyard. After Xiao Chen returned, he immediately continued to inscribe talismans. When night fell, Xiao Chen took out the Rushing Thunder Saber Technique manual and read it carefully. Ever since Xiao Chen obtained this manual, he had not had the time to read it. After he read it, Xiao Chen was quickly drawn into it. The rushing thunder chop was originally a superior grade yellow ranked martial technique. However, when the first few moves of the rushing thunder saber technique were used, its might would increase by several times, reaching the level of a superior grade profound ranked martial technique. Xiao Chen inherited the Battle Sage Origins changing character formula from the Thunder King. As long as a martial technique was executed before him once, he would be able to execute it accurately. Although its might would be reduced, as long as he comprehended the essence, it was not impossible for it to surpass the original martial technique's might. Originally, Xiao Chen had practiced the rushing thunder chop for a period of time. After he saw Feng Feishui use it once, he immediately comprehended the essence of the rushing thunder saber technique. Thus, he was able to use the changing character formula to execute it completely. Now that he had obtained the entire manual of the rushing thunder saber technique, his comprehension of the essence within it could be said to have gone up another level. The final move of the saber technique, the rushing thunder third chain chop, was also comprehended in his heart. Pooh! In the silent night, a scream suddenly rang out. It was the scream of someone who had their mouth covered by someone's hand before they died. Although this sound was very soft, after Xiao Chen became a martial master, his 5 senses had increased significantly. He was slightly startled. Could it be that the Zhang clan and Tang clan are here? Bang! 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 The sounds of fighting became louder and louder, and miserable cries could be heard continuously. Xiao Chen quickly extended his spiritual sense, and in that instant, the entire Xiao residence was within his sight. Through Xiao Chen's spiritual sense, he could see 3 figures starting a massacre. The 3 of them were extremely fast. No one was a match for them. Xiao Chen's elite guards were like paper in their hands. With just a light flick, they were torn to shreds. Martial saints. These were actually 3 martial saint experts. Xiao Chen was greatly shocked. How could there be 3 martial saint experts in Mo City? These 3 people covered their faces and did not linger in battle. Their speed was extremely fast, and they only attacked those who blocked their path. When Xiao Chen saw the path they were taking, he suddenly realized that their targets were Xiao Yulan, Xiao Jian, and himself. These were the participants of the promise of 10 years. Indeed, it was the work of the Zhang clan and Tang clan. Looking at the Xiao clan disciples who had died miserably, Xiao Chen clenched his fist tightly. His heart was bleeding, and a murderous look appeared in his eyes. Where is Lu Fenglin? Xiao Chen shifted his gaze in another direction and saw Lu Fenglin's figure. However, he was currently being held up by a blue-clothed man. He could not even protect himself, and it was difficult for him to free himself. Even further away, the first elder was leading a group of martial grand masters of the Xiao clan. They were being held up by a strong martial saint. That person did not kill them. However, every time someone went over to help, he would immediately make a move to block them. There were actually 5 martial saint experts here. The situation was not good. Xiao Chen quickly left his room and rushed to Bao Er's room. "Young master, what's wrong?" Bao Er walked out of her room and heard the miserable cries of the people outside. She had a panicked expression on her face. Just as Xiao Chen was about to explain, a monstrous killing intent surged towards him. That earth-shattering aura caused people to feel pressure even before they got close. Xiao Chen pushed Bao Er back to her room and quickly said, "Quickly return to your room. Remember, no matter what you hear, don't come out. Remember, no matter what you hear, don't come out." Although Bao Er did not understand what was going on, she had never seen such an anxious expression on Xiao Chen's face before. She obediently ran back to her room. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the high wall of the courtyard. In his hand was a sword dripping with blood. He had a black veil covering his face, making it impossible to see his appearance. 2 beams of light shot out from his eyes as he stared at Xiao Chen. "Pu Xi." The sword in the black-clothed man's hand trembled and a 20-meter-long blue sword chi flew towards Shao Chen. This was a true sword chi, the signature attack of a martial saint. It was not like the sword chi that Zhang He sent out using the holy sword martial spirit. The sword chi surged and quickly arrived before Shao Chen. Shao Chen knew that he would not be able to block it, so he quickly retreated. Bang! Just as Shao Chen retreated, the sword chi had already swept past where he was standing. There was a loud sound and a deep pit appeared in the ground. Shockwaves spread out in all directions and dust flew everywhere. Before Shao Chen landed on the ground, he was struck by the shockwave. His body flew backwards and crashed into the ground with a loud bang. The might of one sword, a martial saint expert is indeed strong, Shao Chen, who was on the ground, thought to himself. The figure on the high wall suddenly disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared in the sky above Shao Chen's head. A 20-meter-long sword chi pulsed on his sword. This sword carried an undefeatable aura as it descended from the sky. At this moment, no matter how powerful a martial technique was, it would be useless. This was because there would not be a chance to execute it. Shao Chen waved his hand and the wooden sculpture made of spiritual wood was tossed above his head.